Opo. Hindi po tayo naka-live po, ha? Okay, ang daloy po natin ngayon ay magkakaroon tayo ng opening prayer and then recall po ng ating objectives and mga topics. And then po, we go for the question and answer kung meron. And then, meron pala talaga. Hindi pwedeng and your comments pala. And of course, for our closing prayer po. So, shall we start po? Let us pray. Dear Lord, as we gather tonight for the resumption of our trainers training, we ask for your guidance. We thank you, Lord, for fair weather. We thank you for our good signals also. We thank you for all the participants that are present tonight, and we are hoping that the other participants will get and join us later. We thank you for our resource speaker, Ma'am Tessa de la Cruz, who gives her talents and time for this modular training. Lord, though you designed our minds to be resilient, we acknowledge our limitation for things we cannot do and change. Give us understanding on the situations, symptoms, and treatment of depression and anxiety. Be our leading healer whenever we deal with people with mental illness. Help us to ask the right questions, and may we always say the proper words to people in need. We turn to you and not to ourselves. Help us, Lord, to be trusting, to be patient, and to be hopeful. This is our prayer for this session. Amen.
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 Di po. So, let's move on to the next part ng ating program, yung pong recall ng objectives at saka po yung presentation ng ating modular series and the topics, presentation of the topic. Po. Good evening po sa ating lahat, and we thank God for gathering us again in our Series 5, tama ba? Series 5 Mental Health Awareness webinar. We welcome and greet everyone in this webinar as always, and we also do hope that the discussion tonight will bring us into a higher commitment, higher degree of commitment and advocacy towards mental health, especially at this time of pandemic. And siguro hindi lang po sa time ng pandemic, kundi sa everyday lives natin. And to refresh us on the general and specific objectives of this trainer's training, let me allow to share you the following objectives. First, to inform and educate people, especially women workers, on the importance of good health on working women. At siguro hindi lang sa mga working women, kundi kahit nasa other sectors ng ating church. Second is to promote the concept of health support system among women. Atin pong pinag-usapan ito kung paano as an organization, as an association, we can build support system, no, sa each organization at as DIAKONIA Philippines as a whole. And then the third is to provide with the latest credible health information available and accessible to women. Ano po? And through our resource person, Ms. Tessa, we can achieve this goal. No? Mga health informations na pwede nating ma-achieve. And then fourth, to provide professional training and continuing education through the Forum of Church Women Workers and Women from Communities. So, itong webinar natin will give us training and continuing education para po ma-cascade po natin ito sa mga women workers in our churches, in our districts, conferences, and women from communities, from respective communities. And then fifth is to assist women to empower themselves and advocate for health awareness. So, itong trainers training po natin is part ng empowerment sa atin. And this is a very good opportunity for us. Kaya we are always looking for your cooperation and participation every time we have this webinar. Kasi ito po yung way natin para talagang ma-empower tayo. At yung advocacy natin for health awareness, especially mental health, ay talagang ma-harness natin. And then 6 is to facilitate the organization of women health workers and healers. Doon po sa criteria natin, isa ito sa ating binigyang pansin, no? Na tayo ay mag-facilitate sa ating mga organization ng tayo ay maging health workers and healers in 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 way possible, in ways na pwede nating magawa sa ating mga local churches. Sa mga nakalipas po na webinar natin, after the first session with Tessa, we discuss about self-care kasi naniniwala po tayo na as healers, as coaches and mentors ay kailangan din po natin ng care para sa ating mga sarili. Hindi naman tayo nagiging makasarili, kundi very challenging na gawain. So we also have to take care of ourselves. So mayroon po we had 3 sessions on this topic. From Dr. Reggie, from Dr. Impress, and then from Framer. Sila po yung nagbigay sa atin ng discussion about the self-care. And tonight, we will be discussing the second module doon sa ating framework na pinag-usapan on the topic Depression and Anxiety Disorders. Particularly, its assessment, management, psychosocial interventions, and follow-up to do. Kaya we are thankful na kasama uli natin si Tessa dito, and Tessa is very instrumental sa ating pong trainers training na ito. At hindi lamang po siya resource person, siya din po ay ating consultant. At the same time ay yung mga follow-up ng mga activities natin ay very much willing po si Tessa to help us out. Paalala lang po sa atin mga kapatid, hindi po siguro, gaya ng ating pinag-usapan, this is isa sa mga sa objectives sa sinabi natin ay yung cascading sa ating pong mga member associations. Kaya po ine-expect sa bawat isa na tayo po ay dadalo sa tuwing tayo ay mayroong webinar na ito, no? Para po matapos natin yung modules na ipinipare sa atin. Kaya hindi po pwede yung papalit-palit po tayo ng participants, kasi hindi po magiging consistent at saka continuing yung ating series at itong webinar natin, training natin, kung paiba-iba po yung ating participants, no? From the very start, atin pong nilinaw yon na kung sino po yung ating napili ay kailangan pong maging punctual at saka efficient and diligent doon sa ating mga pinag-uusapan. So sana po lahat ng participants na na-select from each organization ay talagang umattend at sila po talaga yung inaasahan na a-attend. Tayo po ay maging nag-commit, no, para itong ating training na ito ay maging successful sa ating mga organizations. So kaya po sana tiyakin po ng mga presidents or coordinator, convener ng ating mga association na ang ating mga participants po ay nakakadalo sa ating mga pagsasanay na ito. So, paalala din po na ang ating kasunod na mga modules, kasi hindi na ako magsasalita mamaya, no? Ang ating susunod pong modules ay mental disorder due to substance abuse, child and adolescent mental disorder, at saka po yung self-harm and suicide. Po. So, yun po ang ating modules. So, including this, ay may 4 po tayong modules. Kaya medyo mahaba-haba pa rin po yung ating pagsasamahan. So yun lang po ang ating recall and presentation ng ating mga topics ng modular series natin. And salamat po sa lahat sa inyong pagiging masipag at matyaga sa ating gawain. Salamat po.
Okay po, let's start po, Ma'am Tessa. Pwede na po kayo mag-share.
Pwede na po. Okay, sandali lang po. Okay, so share ko lang po ang aking screen. Kanina po ay na-practice na namin to. Tapos, nagustuhan po nila ang kulay. Bigla po ako napaisip. Naku, talaga nga bang anti-depressing nga po ba at talaga ang aking screen. Napili ko lang po itong screen na to kasi maganda nga po ang kulay. Pero yung combination po nito, actually, ang tinignan ko kasi contrast talaga. Makikita niyo talaga dahil gabi to, malinaw ang mga letra. So, hindi ko po alam kung magiging consistent to na hindi depressing. Pagpasensyahan niyo na po. Pero, bago tayo magsimula, pwede po bang, kanina po ay in-on niyo na lahat ng mga camera niyo, hindi ba? So, ngayon po, pwede po bang paki-on po ulit bago po ako mag-start? Paki-on po muna lahat ng mga camera niyo. Ayun. Nasaan ako dito makita? Ayan, kasi nakashare na pala ako. No?
Ano nag-upload? I-on mo na daw lahat ng camera.
Yan. Okay. Pero ang microphone po, paki-mute. Okay. Tapos ganito po, 2 klase lang po ang ituturo ko sa inyo ha. Ito ay panlaban nyo sa stress at panlaban nyo kontra depression to at anxiety. Dalawang klaseng smiles. Yung isang smile po, kung matatandaan nyo, ay yung magsismile kayo nang hindi nakabuka ang lips. Pwede nyo po bang gawin yon? Nakatikom ang lips, pero nakasmile. Yan. Yan ang tinatawag na polite smile. Okay, again, lahat tayo magpo-polite smile. Yan ang polite smile, hindi labas ang ngipin. Merong pangalawang klaseng smile. Ito yung tinatawag na sincere smile. Ang pag-smile mo naman ito, nakasmile ka na medyo nakabuka ang iyong mga lips. Okay, can you do that? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Flash your sincere smiles. Okay. Okay. Between polite and sincere, ano po ang mas gusto nyong matanggap? Anong mas gusto nyong ibigay sa inyo na smile? 1 or 2? 1, polite. Yung 2 ay sincere. Okay. Paki-sign lang po sa camera nyo sa front ng... Okay. So, okay. Madaming sabi, sincere smile. Okay. So, kahit po lumabas na yung gilagid nyo at lahat-lahat, basta sincere smile po ang ibibigay nyo. Hindi lang po sa ibang tao, kundi pati sa inyong mga sarili. So, ito yung unang pangontra natin sa sadness, unang pangontra natin sa depression. Kapag meron tayong nararamdaman na hindi na po medyo maayos, let us smile. Kasi po, susunod na yung wiring ng brain natin doon. So, from outside in, tapos tutulungan pa yan ng ating mga thoughts from inside out naman. So, magsasabay yung dalawa, so mawawala na ng space para i-create yung perception ng sadness. So, isa po yan sa physiology ng depression. So, may mga ganyan po, may kinalaman yan sa muscle ng mukha natin, may kinalaman po yan sa mga thoughts na nabubuo sa ating isipan. Okay, so ngayon po, Yung mga mahihina ang bandwidth, pwede na po kayong mag-close ng video kung hindi lang po kaya. Pero pwede pong manatiling open ang inyong mga camera habang ako po ay nagsasalita. Pero kung hindi po kaya ng bandwidth nyo, okay lang po na isara nyo. Ako po ay mag-share na ngayon ng aking screen. Okay. Ang title po, itong pong module na to ay tungkol sa depression and anxiety. Magkalapit po ang usapin ng dalawang ito. Bago po natin umpisahan ang mental health webinar series na ito, gusto ko pong tingnan natin ang pagtanaw natin sa mental health. Nung ako po ay bata pa, siguro mga 6 or 7 years old, pag nakakita po ng mga naglalakad sa kalye ng mga taong grasa, na mga nawawala sa katinuan, um, hindi lang po ako natatakot. Pero napapaisip ako, bakit kasi nakakatakot makasalamuha ang mga ganong klaseng tao? Have you ever thought of your reaction nung una kayo nung una kayo nakakita ng mga ganong klaseng individuals, marurumi, nawawala sa sarili, kinakausap yung sarili nila, nasa isang tabi lang o kaya naman nasa kalye nagsusulat ng chalk sa semento. Noong naka-encounter po kayo ng ganyan, ano yung unang naging reaction niyo? So, keep that in mind. Kayo po ba ay natakot? Kayo po ba ay napaisip? Okay. Kasi ito po ay isang indikasyon ng stigma na kinakaharap ng mental health. Marami pong hindi nakakaintindi sa mental health at marami po ang mas napapalala ang sitwasyon dahil hindi po naiintindihan na mas maraming tao ang kanilang kalagayan. So, sa pagpasok po nitong new normal na 'to, isa po sa ating pag-isipan paano magiging normal para sa mas nakakaraming tao itong new normal na 'to. Itong mundo na 'to na kahit kailanman hindi naging normal for all of them. So, paano natin sila masasama sa ating mga advocacies, paano natin sila masasama sa ating mga gawain o kahit man lang sa ating panalangin. So, buksan po natin ang ating mga isipan pa mental illness. Kung mapapansin niyo po, ang depression and anxiety, sila po yung mga nasa unang banda kung titingnan natin to as a ladder, nasa first few steps pa itong depression and anxiety. Of course, it can go worse and it can also lead to suicide. Pero dito po nag-uumpisa ang karamihan ng iba pang mental illnesses. Okay, let's move forward po. Objectives natin for this session, ma-analyze kung saan nag-uumpisa ang depression and anxiety, ma-recognize yung mga red flags, ma-apply ang prevention and first aid measures, at makadevelop po ng symptoms na pwede tayong matulungan sa pag-assess ng isang status ng isang individual na pwede meron ng anxiety disorder or ng depressive disorder. Ang situation po natin ngayon, tayo ay nasa pandemic pa rin. Maaaring iba sa atin nasa MGCQ, iba nasa GCQ. Pero napakalaki po ng pagbabago sa ating mga day-to-day lives simula na nagkaroon ng pandemic. So yung mga consequences po nitong mga pandemic na to ay kabilang dyan yung mga pagsasara ng businesses, naka-put on hold yung ibang businesses, yung mga smaller operating capacity, wala na, nagbawas ng mga empleyado, yung mga ganyang sitwasyon. Yung ibang tao na dati ay may empleyo, ano na kaya daw ang magiging future nila ngayong natanggal sila sa trabaho. And yung iba naman, they were forced to work at home. So yung mga bata nasa online and blended learning at nasa bahay din, paano ko kaya mababalanse ang oras ko? Yung mga naman may on a daily wage basis, kailan ko kaya susunod na makukuha ang aking paycheck? Susweldo pa ba ako? Paano ko pakakainin ang pamilya ko? Sabi ng gobyerno, wear mask, wear face shields. Pero wala na nga akong pambili ng pagkain. So, ano pang gagawin ko? So, ito yung mga kinakaharap nating sitwasyon. And like it or not, nakakaapekto po ito sa ating mga kaisipan. So, may lumabas pong isang survey, ginawa po ito ng isang Philippine-based company. Sabi dito sa survey na to, tiningnan nila kung paano yung pandemic and community quarantine ay nakakaapekto sa mental health. Ito po ay ginawa online, 450 employees mula noong May 5 hanggang May 16 para ma-determine kung anong effect ng enhanced community quarantine sa mental health ng mga Filipinos. So tiningnan ng survey na to yung stress, anxiety, and depression levels ng mga respondents. At ang naging resulta ay quite alarming, no? Nakakabagabag ang naging resulta. Sabi sa resulta, a substantial percentage of the respondents reported experiencing critical levels of stress. So, yung 15% nasa critical na ang stress level nila. Of the 450 employees, yung 29% doon, ang anxiety level nila ay nasa critical level at ang 21% ng 450 employees ay nasa depression, yung level ng depression nila ay nasa critical level na. So ano yung mga nakaapekto sa stress, anxiety, and depression na nasa critical level na? Ito yung mga economic concerns. So dahil walang ibang magawa, no? Dahil naka-lockdown, so lahat noong mga economic concerns na andito lang sa utak nilang lahat, hindi matigil ang pag-worry. So alam niyo naman, ang pag-worry, nag-uugat yan sa mas marami pang mga maladaptive behaviors. So nag-ugat yan ng childhood natin, ano yung mga ginagawa natin dati na hindi na natin naialis. Pag nag-worry, after mo mag-worry, anong susunod doon? Iiyak ka na lang ba? Ano, yung iba naman, pag nag-worry, after nila mag-worry, mananakit. Yung iba naman, after mag-worry, wala na silang ibang gustong gawin, kundi mahiga na lang. So, ito ang mga deeply rooted behaviors natin. Nag-umpisa po ito noong pang childhood natin. So, na-aggravate at lumalabas dahil nagkakaroon tayo ng matinding pagsubok. So, sabi din po sa survey na to, ang mga millennials and mga Gen Zs ang pinaka-apektado. So mga millennials, sila yung mga pinanganak ng mga bandang lampas ng year 2000. Mga Gen Zs, some years before that, sila yung mga, siguro mga ilang taon sila ngayon, mga less than 20 or mga hanggang 24 years old, sila yung pinaka-affected. They generally have a higher likelihood of suffering from extreme stress, anxiety, and depression. So, for those working at home naman, mas mataas din yung mga anxiety levels nila, saka depression levels nila compared doon sa mga nasa work pa rin nila or combination ng on-site saka work from home and work on-site. So, yung mga nag-work from home, 16% of employees sabi ang kanilang mga stress ay medyo mas mataas na kaysa moderate. Ang 31% naman mas mataas na sa moderate ang anxiety at 22% ay mataas na rin ang depression. And sabi din po, doon sa survey na yan, yung mga although may sobrang nakakadagdag sa stress, sa depression, sa anxiety, meron din naman pong nakakabawas. At ano naman yun? Having children and spouse as companions during the ECQ is good for the mental health. They seem to dampen the impact. But of course, nakakatulong po ito kung hindi kayo nag-aaway, kung hindi masyadong pasaway ang mga bata. Pero kung palagi nag-aaway na lang and hindi rin negative yung home environment, ay masama din po yan for mental health. But in this survey kasi, hindi nila in-specify kung negative or positive yung relationship ng children and spouse. But they just said na kapag merong bata at matanda or asawa na kasama ka sa bahay, ay mas okay yun sa mental health. Siguro kinukompare nila to sa mga taong naiwan mag-isa sa bahay. Because there are a lot that I know, naiwan sila mag-isa sa bahay at talagang na-encounter po nila yung tinatawag nating cabin fever or in Tagalog, buryong. Isa sa last na nakita nila, working from home increases by up to 5 times the likelihood of extremely severe depression. So, kailangan po talaga ang ina-underscore dito yung pakikipag-socialize natin. So, in many, many talks that I've been giving, sinasabi dito na establish social connection even through online. Mahalaga pa rin po yun. Okay. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay. So, ano nga po ba yung mga factors na nakakontribute sa depression and anxiety? Paki-amin na lang po, admit to yourself, too much time, more than 6 hours daily of watching movies or watching TV. Mas nakaka-depress daw po yun, 2.4 times more. Okay, so yung mga guilty, just try to monitor your behavior. Then, not having any exercise is a risk factor for extremely severe anxiety. So, napapataas niya yung chance mo magkaroon ng severe anxiety 1.5 times more. And napapataas din, not having any exercise, yung pagiging depressed mo 3 times more. So, malaking factor po talaga ang ehersisyo. And this is very true, no? Kahit naman sa mga physical pains lang, actually, ang anxiety po at ang stress, mapapansin nyo na meron kayo niyan kapag umpisa nang sumakit ang ulo nyo or ang shoulder nyo. Of course, with the exception kung meron talaga kayong sakit, no? Say may slip disc or mga ganyan. Pero kung feeling nyo ang bilis ng sumakit ng shoulder nyo, tapos nakakaramdam kayo ng pananakit ng katawan, pero wala naman kayong trangkaso, wala naman kayong ibang sakit, these are signs already of anxiety and stress. Masyado na kayo nasa-stress. So the only way to counter that is to move. So mag-ayos kayo, mag-rearrange kayo ng bahay. Okay. Nakakasakit din yun ng katawan, pero when you do this to counter anxiety and stress, mas ginagawa niyo ng paraan yung thought processes niyo. Mas naitatama. There's something about moving that corrects the workings of our brain. So that's the second one. The third is those who spend 2 to 3 hours a day on social media are almost 3 times more likely to develop extremely severe depression and 1.6 times more likely to have severe anxiety. So, bottom line is, kapag titingnan mo itong tatlo, kapag nakukulangan ka ng mga normal mong ginagawa dati, before the pandemic, like maglalakad-lakad, so that means exercise, kapag nakukulangan ka nun, kapag nakukulangan ka ng social interaction, merong masamang mangyayari sa iyong thought and behavioral processes. And more likely, that will bring you towards anxiety and depression. So, hindi mo mapapangalagaan ang stress level mo hanggang sa mapunta na yun sa anxiety disorder and depression. By the way, sinasabi ko pong anxiety dito ay anxiety disorder. Meron po tayong anxiety na tinatawag na ini-encounter natin everyday. Ito yung tipong it comes with stress. For example, ako, alas 11 na. Hindi pa ako nakakapamalengke. Anong iluluto ko? That's stress and anxiety na normal. Okay? Ang anxiety disorder ay iba pa. So, ang anxiety na normal, it can be healthy pa because it can make you move towards your goals. But anxiety disorder is something else. It can reduce your functionality. As we will see in a short while, makikita natin yung mga indicators ng anxiety disorder. Okay? But anxiety in daily life, you should welcome that because it propels you to move. Okay? Yung mga anxiety na nararamdaman natin before we give a talk to a lot of people in front of, say, 500, that's anxiety, that's high stress. But it's still healthy because that optimal level of anxiety will push you to give of your best. While anxiety disorder, kahit anong level yan, will really reduce your functionality. Okay, so let's see. So this is an illustration These are the Gen Zs and the millennials, no? Sila yung mga 20 years old hanggang 24 years old, no? Mas prone sila sa stress, sa anxiety, sa severe depression. Okay. Now, bakit kaya? Sa tingin nyo, bakit kaya mas prone sila? What do you think? You can unmute yourself if you want. Why do you
Because
think they are more
because
prone?
they
Yes.
are the more dependent on social media. Yung factors na binanggit mo kanina, sila yung
Mm-mm.
pinaka-exposed doon.
Yeah, right. Okay. Bukod doon sa normal stress na nararamdaman nating lahat ngayon sa pandemic, mas exposed sila sa social media which could create in them fears. Kasi social media, hindi natin alam kung ano yung mga nakikita nila dyan. Tama ba ako? And these things can create in them fears. So, mas prone sila ma-stress, mas prone sila ma-anxious, and ma-depress. I would like to say something quickly about suicide here. So, tama ka, ang pinakamalapit sa social media ay mas prone sa mga ganitong sakit or mental illnesses kasi may I request paki-mute po? Ayan, thank you. Okay. Like 1 year back, meron pong isang school sa Marikina, tinanong po ako, Miss, na-take down ba yun sa YouTube? Naalis po ba sa YouTube yung video? And ang nire-refer ng guidance counselor nitong exclusive school na to sa Marikina ay yung video na nag-Facebook Live yung isang band member na nagpakamatay. So ang nangyari po doon, yung band member na 'to, siguro mga nasa magfo-40s na rin 'to 'no, at about 10 AM, pumunta siya sa rooftop, in-on niya ang social media niya, FB, nag-live siya do'n, and habang naglalakad papunta sa edge ng building, naka-on yung camera niya. Kinukunan niya yung sarili niya. And then yung pagtalon niya po ay nakunan. So namatay po yung taong yun. And marami nakakita sa social media, but mabuti na lang po ay inalis agad. Bakit? That guidance counselor who asked me, Miss, naalis ba ka agad? Believe that suicidal thoughts and behaviors do not spring from childhood. Hindi sa pagkabata nagmumula lamang ang suicidal thoughts. The mere fact na nakikita nila, even when they do not have the reason to do it, could make them commit suicide. So, nagbabago na po ang terrain ng ating mental health. No? Hindi lang early childhood ang tinitingnan, hindi lang genetics, pero yes, I'm glad you brought that up, social media. So as guardians, parents, we really need to monitor ano na po yung mga tinitingnan nila sa social media. If we could block some accounts, then better. But I think the pinaka-solution po dyan talaga ay informal learning sessions with parents and intergenerational learning. So isa po yan sa mga pwede nating matalakay as a coping mechanism para matulungan itong mga Gen Zs and millennials. So they could really benefit from learning from the older generation. And to add to that, so social media, no, na-expose sila masyado, natatakot silang masyado. Ito yung mga kakadevelop lang fully yung brain nila. Hindi ko alam kung na-mention ko na before, but it's worth mentioning as well pa rin na until the age 21, ito pong mga utak ng mga millennials, Gen Zs, and even tayo, no, nung hindi pa tayo dumarating ng 21, wala pa po yung capacity for effective decision making. So bara-bara yan. Hindi nila malalaman alin yung fake sites, alin yung mga totoong sites na nagsasabi ng tamang balita. So talagang mas prone silang magoyo, madaya, matakot, and very, very vulnerable pa talaga ang kanilang personalities. So they are more vulnerable to stress, to anxiety, and to depression. So, mas prone sila, but of course, ang mga age po natin ay hindi nalalayo. Tayo po ay susunod na dyan sa kanila. Okay. So, let me move forward. A United Nations policy brief on COVID-19 and the need for action on mental health released last May 13 also said that adolescents and young people are most at risk during this crisis. Many young people, ito pa yung isang reason, have seen their futures impacted. Oh, nag-close ang schools. Ano mangyayari sa college degree ko? Nakagraduate nga ako, nakakuha ako ng license ko, pero wala naman ako mapasukan. Okay, ano mangyayari? May career pa ba ako na tatawagin? So yung mga economic prospects nila, parang na-blur din. Saan ako kukuha ng pera? How can I achieve my independence now? Okay? It is also uh, so it is a must that we must provide mental health services to these population. So pero bago natin pagtuunan ng pansin ang certain populations, let us get to know well ano nga ba ang depression. I will give you first an overview of depression. Depression is a mood disorder. It causes distressing symptoms. So mood disorder, ibig sabihin mafa-flatten yung mood mo kasi it says distressing symptoms. Kung ang normal mo ay medyo nasa 5, kapag ikaw in a scale of 1 to 10, ang normal mo ay nasa 5. Kapag ikaw ay depressed, pwede yung nasa 4, nasa 3, nasa 2, or when it's severe, yan ay 1. Okay, pag mild lang, pwede ka nasa 4. Pag moderate, pwede ka nasa 3 and 2. But if it's severe, ang depression level mo, ang mood mo ay nasa 1 lang palagi. Okay. And you will see later, may kinalaman yan. Gano'ng katagal? 2 weeks na ba? Months na ba? So, anong nangyayari? All over the world, it is a very, very common illness. And it is a major contributor to the global burden of disease. So imagine 264 million affected of all ages. Pero mas marami dyan ay babae. So kung mapansin nyo, doon po sa binigay ko sa inyong cases, puro halos babae. Tama ba ako? Oo, puro halos babae yun nandun. And it's a leading cause of disability. Not disability na mawawalan ng paa, kamay, ganyan. But in effect, yes. Kasi halos hindi ka na makakatrabaho, halos hindi ka na makakilos, believe me, when you're depressed. Okay. Because I underwent depression myself. It was a major depressive disorder, so I had to see another counselor who would help me out. So that this happened because it completed my grief. I lost my father in 2011, and then I lost my mother 2016, and a lot of things happened in between. So it was really too much. It was beyond normal. So I had to see my friend who's a psychologist and who helped me out and recover. So it could lead to serious health condition talaga if unabated, kung hindi maagapan. And it can also lead to suicide. So about 800,000, imagine yun na lang, 800,000 people die due to suicide every year. So kung iisipin nyo, silent pandemic siya. Okay? Hindi lang siya all over the news like this coronavirus, but it is a silent pandemic. Imagine every year, and for how many years now? And suicide is the second leading cause of death in 15 to 29-year-olds. Okay. It can be treated though, just like what I said, it can be treated, but you just need to get help. Okay. There are known effective treatments for mental disorders such as this. And the sad thing is, like in countries such as ours, mga low and middle income countries, wala po nakaka-receive halos ng treatment for their disorder. That's why I'd really, this is really my advocacy to talk to you about this. And for you, I am counting on you to talk to younger people about this, to re-echo. Kasi kulang na kulang po tayo sa treatment and prevention for these disorders. So mabawasan natin yung 800,000 a year ng, let's say, In the Philippines, mabawasan natin ng 1,000 a year is a big deal already. So, pagtulungan po natin i-educate ang maraming tao tungkol sa depression. So, marami pong barriers na para sa effective care. It includes lack of resources, lack of trained healthcare providers, social stigma associated with mental disorders. Um, there's another barrier, yun naman pong hindi tamang pag-assess. Marami po din akong nadinig and nakausap, no? Sabi nila, Ate Tessa, nagpunta po ako sa isang psychiatrist, pero po, bigla na lang po akong binigyan ng diagnosis, pero hindi pa niya po ako nakakausap talaga. As in, tinanong niya lang po ako kung anong naramdaman ko and gaano nakatagal, niresetahan niya na lang po agad ako ng gamot. Tapos, and hindi man lang po ako sinabihan kung babalik pa po ba ako sa kanya o kung anong gagawin ko after. So this is, well, bukod sa inaccurate assessment, hindi po kumpleto ang suporta matanggap. I would like to emphasize that in treating mental disorders, psychosocial support is very, very important. And why so? Because we are after the wellness of an individual, the psychosocial development of the individual. For without that, hindi po makaka-function maximally, maximum potential, hindi maaabot kapag hindi po sila ma-treat from this disorder. And yes, maximum potential should be our battle cry. It started when, as a youth po, no, sa PEC, nagko-choir kami, ganyan, and I was given a task to speak para sa Youth Sunday. And ang tinitle ko po dun sa aking sermon ay Maximum Potential. From then on po, dapat nasa isip ko, ang mga kabataan, ma-maximize po nila talaga ang potential nila. And even hindi na kabataan, we can still maximize our potentials. If we could only look at our thought processes, eto po, tulad nito, pag-alaga natin sa ating mental health illness, we can still maximize our potential. So imagine, no, if you are burdened by things like negative affect, yung nega lahat ng iniisip mo, nega yung ginagawa mo, lagi kang malungkot, wala nang interest sa mga activities na dati naman enjoy mo. Tapos, hindi ka na maka-function sa work. So imagine you encountering all these things. So paano ka makaka-function na ayos sa trabaho mo? Even if you are very intelligent, even if you are very gifted, you can do this and you can do that. But if you're feeling all of these things negatively, and then hindi mo pa rin maximize ang potential mo. So it is important that we attend to these illnesses. All right, so before I go to the Excel, I'm showing you an Excel, I will define first ano naman yung anxiety disorder. An anxiety disorder is a group of mental illnesses, hindi lang siya isa, that cause constant and overwhelming anxiety. The excessive anxiety, ano ba yung anxiety yung tinatawag dyan? Natatakot ka, nag-aalala ka. The excessive anxiety can make you avoid work, school, family get-together, and other social situations that might trigger or worsen your symptoms. Good news, it can be treated pa rin. Okay. Now, at this point, I will stop my PowerPoint presentation and I would like you to pull up your assignment. So may mga matatawa po dyan kasi hindi sila nakagawa ng assignment nila. Okay. Pero meron kayo nung cases, di ba? Meron kayong kopya. Tama ba ako? Okay. So, I want you to bring that up. I'm giving you 5 minutes, ha? Ayan, mabait ako. I'm giving you 5 minutes. Also, you can do your water break. So, yung sana 5 minutes to. Water break, and then I'll give them time to look at their assignment. Pwede po kayo magmarka ng mga red flags habang may break tayo. Okay. So ano ba yung red flags ito kung hindi niyo masyadong na-get, no? I'm so sorry. Red flags. Ito yung kapag nadinig mo, uy, pwede siyang kandidata to sa depressive disorder. red flag to for anxiety. Okay, so yung mga ganong tipo. Okay, nagbigay ako ng example like headache, yung ganyan. Yan. So, just underline or highlight. Okay? And then I will show you the key later. Okay? In after 5 minutes, I'll just get my water as well. So you can go to your CR break, water break. Okay? Look at your cases and highlight nyo or take note however you want it. Basta kailangan mabilang nyo kung ilan yan per case. Halimbawa, yung case ni mom, the tired mom, o ilan ba yung nakita mong red flag sa kanya. Okay? So, okay, 5 minutes. Okay, gonna, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna turn off my video. I'm just gonna mute lang. Okay? Mag-mute lang ako sandali. And then I'll get my water and I'll be back in 5 minutes. You can make chika-chika. Okay lang po. Pwede naman magkopyahan. Kaya po may idea kayo, if ever you come across a client, ano pong isusulat niyo, ano yung mga red flags na dapat hindi nawawala sa mga isusulat niyo. Kasi mga indicators po to kung siya ba ay gumagaling o lumalala lalo. Okay, and just count ha. Kung meron kayong mga nakita dyan, just count so that makikita nyo kung gaano na ba katalas ang inyong mata sa pag-identify ng mga red flags.
Last 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. So, pag time is up na po, get ready with your answers and you can get ready as well with your paper and pen or laptop or whatever you can write on para makita po natin or masulat nyo ang yung mga indicators na to. So, I will reveal the answers when Miss Hannah says that time is up. But I need you to be honest with how many you've counted.
Ten seconds left. Okay na po.
Okay na. Okay, eto na. Tingnan natin. I'm sharing my screen now. Can you see po? You can change the view option kung nasa taas po ng inyong Zoom window. It says view options para makita nyo po ng mas malaki. It says zoom ratio. Pwede nyo gawing 100% o kung ano yung mas fit sa mata nyo. Okay. So, here are the answers. Tingnan natin. Yung case number 1, I hope you're with me. Nasa case number 1 tayo. Ito yung si mom, 27 years old. Do you see that? Are you there? Okay, can you give me a thumbs up? Sana, check, magta-thumbs up sila. Tell me kung nagta-thumbs up. Are you there? Na kay mom na ba kayo? 27? Okay. Give me just a thumbs up there. If you're...
We can't see the gallery po eh because you are sharing pala.
Ano ba? I cannot see the gallery. On my screen, nasa view. Okay. Choose side-by-side gallery. Okay. There. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So naka-thumbs up na ba? Can you give us your thumbs up kung na kay mom kayo? Nasa case kayo ngayon?
Nasa case na po ba tayo? Wala pa pong nagta-thumbs up, only few. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, let's proceed. This is important that we are on the same page, no? Para makita nyo ano nga ba yung case na to. Okay, this is the case of mom. Siyempre, si mommy siya, okay, 27 or 28 years old, okay. Okay. And then, meron siyang major depressive disorder. At ang red flags na meron dyan sa case study niya ay 15. So, sino ang nakakuha ng lahat ng 15? Can you unmute yourself? Meron dapat 15 dyan, or at least makuha nyo ang 10. Meron ba nakakuha ng 10 man lang?
Nakakuha po ako 10.
I got 10.
Okay. Great. That's great. Okay. So, malinaw pa ang inyong mata sa pagsipat ng kung sino ang may red flag. Okay. Now, tingnan natin kung tama. You check, ha? Ang mga red flags dyan ay headaches and fatigue. Tama? Check your work. And then, always feels tired. Okay? Cannot sleep well.
Okay.
Often waking up early. Okay. 3 weeks ago, yung symptoms niya have been getting worse. Did you include that, the time element? 3 weeks ago. So, medyo matagal nang nangyayari. That's why I included that. Then, lacks interest in her usual activities. Missing work. Inability to concentrate. Okay. Worried that she might have something bad. Kita niyo yun? Worried that she might have something bad. Has frequent crying spells.
Yeah.
Yeah. And loss of appetite.
Yes.
Weight loss. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And meron pa. Psychomotor slowing. Nasa third paragraph.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, meron ba dyan sa tingin nyo ay nagtataka kayo, bakit sinama ni Miss Tessa? So, meron ba dyan sa mga hinighlight ko ang nagtataka kayo, bakit sinama ni Miss Tessa to? Parang hindi naman siya red flag for me. Meron bang ganon? Okay, good kung wala. Okay. But if there is anything that you would like to raise as a question, you may do so. Just siguro i-chat nyo muna so that we will not forget. So pag may magcha-chat kayo, sasabihin nyo, question regarding mom. Okay? Para may reference point tayo. Question regarding mom if you have a question. Then let's move to the next. Tingnan natin, sino kaya nakakuha ng kay girl, 15. Bata pa, di ba? Okay, bata pa.
Ano ba to?
Okay. Si girl, 15, ay meron dapat dyan 16. Sige, patawarin po kayo again. 10. If you can find at least 10. Sino ang nakakuha ng 10? na red flag. You need to train your eyes because you are dealing with people. And sometimes these symptoms may not appear symptoms at all kung hindi discriminative ang inyong mata.
Okay. Alright.
Okay. We got 14. Sino to? EJ? EJ, can you unmute? Unmute ka nga, EJ.
Opo.
Yes, okay. Can you tell me what you got? Sorry, kumakain ka pala.
Sorry din. Sorry din po.
Sige, okay lang. Sige, go
Enjoy,
ahead.
EJ.
Ito pa, sa failing several classes, frequent sadness and crying, i-reverse, sorry, ano to? Yung sulat ko, hindi ko naintindihan. Appetite, overeating, saan ba yan? Tapos guilt, so low self-concept, anxiety, irritability, insomnia, hopelessness, difficulty in concentrating, difficulty in interpersonal relationship, persistent negative thoughts about appearance, scholastic, guilt of marital problems of parents, and the health problem like asthma, eyeglasses, overweight.
Yes, yes. Thank you for including that, yung mga physical symptoms yan. Kasi those are aggravating factors, right? So yes, I should have included that. Thank you, EJ. Thank you because all of the things that you said, lalo na yung nasa paragraph 2, everybody, lalo na lahat yung nasa
Kararating niya?
paragraph 2 na symptoms, those are red flags. And then, yung mga sakit niya, like asthma, okay? And then, yung pag-wear niya ng eyeglasses, these are aggravating symptoms. But there are also something in the first paragraph that we should include. Ano yun? The history of the parents. These are very important things. History ng parents. Mother reported having a history of psychiatric treatment for depression and anxiety. Magiging predisposed ang isang bata kung ang home environment niya ay may ganitong klase. Now, what about the father? The father suffered from bipolar disorder and had been receiving psychiatric treatment. So, parehong mother and father nagre-receive ng psychiatric treatment. Ang mother ay may depression and anxiety. Ang father ay may bipolar. Ang bipolar ay, ang isang component niyan ay depression. So, this girl, 15, is very, very prone to depression because of genetics and home environment. Okay, so are we good with girl 15? Did you get it? Any violent reaction? If you have any violent reaction, you can chat it and refer to it as question on girl. Okay, then we will go back to that later. Meantime, yes, thank you, EJ. Meantime, let's go back to, go to the next. This is widow, 59 years old. Okay, so just like mom and girl, si widow ay may major depressive disorder. Ilan ang nakita natin kay widow? Actually, konti lang dito. How many did you get? May
I get
nakakuha ba ng all three? Okay, how many? You got 3? Yeah. Okay, so ano-ano tong 3 na to? Can you name it? Tama ba sa mga hinighlight ko? Okay. Do you have difficulty coping with daily life? Loneliness? And increasingly socially isolated. Those are the red flags. Kasi although normal ang pag-grieve kapag na-widow ka na, kahit ilang taon pa yan, okay? Pero yung increasing social isolation is a major factor. Red flag yon. At may difficulty pa rin siya sa pagko-cope sa daily life. At malungkot pa rin siya after, I think this is over a year na. Those are risk factors already. Okay. And she, I would like to add, lacks social support. So, yung mga friends niya, if you will notice doon sa second paragraph, they had, they had a few close friends with whom they socialized, but those friends had retired in Bicol and Cebu already. So, etong time na kailangan niya ng support, no? Namatay yung asawa niya, no? Tapos umalis pa yung mga friends niya. So, kumbaga, sinasabi nga natin, dobling dagok yun sa kanya. So, siya, major factors yan ng kanyang MDD or major depressive disorder. By the way, do not use, again, yung mga labels na to when dealing with people unless they are already diagnosed because we cannot diagnose, we cannot label them. We are just using these labels so that we can talk about clearly about the disorder, but we do not refer people as, ay, meron siyang MDD, oy, meron siyang depression disorder, or, oy, ano yan, may anxiety disorder. We don't do that. Okay. Now, let's move to Yuppie, 25 years old. Okay. Ilan ang nakuha niyo dito? May I have a show of numbers? Can you chat? Because I have a lot. I saw 25. But if you can see more than 15, then that would be good. May nakakuha ba ng 15? May nakakuha ba higher than 15? 12. Okay. 12. May tataas ba sa 12? May nakakuha ba higher than 12?
May nagre-raise po ng hands. Yes daw po.
Sige. Sorry, hindi ko makita. Yung nagre-raise ng hand, ilan yung nakuha niya?
Pwede pong paki-chat, Pastor, yung kung ilan.
Sino
Pastor Beth.
Pastor Beth, ilan? Nagbibilang.
Hinahanap ko pa yung chat box ko.
Okay. Yung chat box po ay nasa ilalim po ng Zoom. Medyo
Kasi
gitna po siya.
Pinailalim ko kasi yung gallery kaya hindi ko makita yung chat box.
Sige po. Pastor, ilan?
Po. 17.
Wow, 17. Can you mention po ano-ano to mga to?
Ayan. She felt sad all the time, felt discouraged, felt guilty, self-critical, cried often, difficulty making decisions, difficulty getting anything done, and then early morning awakenings, feelings of anxiety and tension, difficulty concentrating, fear of criticisms and disapproval. And then may palpitation din po siya, somatic symptoms, palpitations, restlessness, tight muscles, rubbery feelings, dizziness, headaches, and fatigue.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. You got the second and the third paragraphs, all right. But I'd like to mention also, doon sa first paragraph, pwede nyo i-include yung overly compliant and timid. Because as you will see later, these people experiencing depression and anxiety need to speak out. Hindi nila kailangan i-bottle up yung kanilang emotions. So, hindi lang sunod sila ng sunod, and it cannot be that they're timid all the time. They need to speak up as well. And then, could also include relationship difficulties, okay? And yung looks pa lang niya na distressed, you can also include that already. And meron pa rin siyang mga script. May mga script siya, ibig sabihin yung mga iniisip niya, no, na nakaka-apekto sa kanyang major depressive disorder. And you can check paragraph 4. So, meron siyang kaisipan na I feel trapped. by my relationships.
Mm.
Okay. So this in itself, this thought process is already a red flag. Okay? Kasi hindi na siya makahinga ng mabuti, di ba? Hindi na siya makakilos ng maayos. Okay? And then she also has a difficulty, dito rin, same paragraph din, um, difficulty making the break final. So ibig sabihin, either hindi niya nako-communicate na maigi yung nararamdaman niya, or hindi siya committed fully doon sa ginagawa niyang breakup. So, any of those two things. But kadalasan, dahil i-connect mo to doon sa pagiging timid niya, so maaaring hindi niya sinasabing tahasan na wala na tayo. Maybe sinasabi niya lang na, I just need a break. Okay? So difficulty making the break final. So these are indecisions, no, that can make the individual progress to um, um, like critical levels of depression. So are there other things? Meron pa. Meron pa kay Yapi. Meron siya, meron siyang
Hindi ko po kasi natapos yung pagbabasa.
it's all right. So
Madami pong issue si Yapi.
correct.
Haba eh.
Diba?
Haba
So,
ng case.
what can you say? 25 siya. Hindi siya nalalayo doon sa Gen Z and Millennial na age group na very, very prone sa depression and anxiety. Okay? So, ang dami nilang pinagdadaanan. Okay? It is true nowadays that students can learn to read faster. Marunong na sila agad sa mga computers, sa mga laptops, pero may naiiwan sila, psychosocial development. So, eto na yon. Eto na nagiging resulta nun. So, anong sabi dito? Isa sa mga issues ni Bing, she was messing up. Feeling ko nagkakalat ako. Feeling ko sabog ako. Okay, ganyan. So, hindi na niya alam i-balance yung mga nangyayari sa buhay niya. And then, she's fearful of not meeting her boss's expectations. A lot of millennials and Gen Zs commit suicide because they feel they're not living up to the expectations of the older generation. Okay, mga thought processes nila to, no? And they're extremely nervous. In general, they're extremely nervous. It just shows in many, many different ways. Akala nila hindi sila ninenervyos, pero lumalabas to sa pakikitungo nila. Feeling mo confident sila. But actually, kapag nasaling mo lang, nabully mo lang minsan, they'll take drugs, they'll do a lot of things para ma-counter yung hindi nila na dinig na congruent sa iniisip nila. And these are the same people who are victims of trolling. Madaling mabully din sa internet, madaling magoyo, madaling maloko. And sila din yung mga nag-a-assume ng different identities sa net. Sila yung maraming FB accounts, maraming Instagram probably, tapos iba yung pangalan nila. And they go on dates, they go for, di ba alam niyo yung term na sugar daddy? Yes. Akala natin lumipas na yung term na yun. Kasi mga 1980s, 90s ko pa nadidinig yun di ba? Mga pumapatol sa mas matatanda. Nabuhay na naman po ulit ang term na yan. And it's virtual relationship. Yung mga bata na hindi nakakuha ng affection in their families, inside their homes, no, they assume a different identity and they say, LF sugar daddy, looking for sugar daddy. Tapos may mga conditions sila dyan. 1 month only, virtual hug only, no kiss, no sex. Some things like that. So, ganyan na ang mga transactions sila sa internet just to get that closeness that they so long. Kasi wala na sila, kulang na sila sa social contact, kulang na sila sa intergenerational interaction or learning, mga informal learning with their parents or the older generation, wala na sila nun. And these are the very things, very stuff that we are made of. And we think, mas malakas tayo sa kanila because we learn from the older generations. So many things we learn from the older generations, and they're deprived of that because they're with their gadgets. Okay? So marami kasi very, very vulnerable na sila. So ayan po, yan si Yapi. Yan ang example ng mga individuals na prone sa depression. Major depressive disorder. So akala ng daddy niya, di ba, okay lang siya, di ba? So nag-worry kasi medyo hindi nakaka-cope, pero all along, nung siya ay nagsuschool, excelling. Then the father grew worried kasi dito sa work niya parang hindi siya nag-excel. So yun na pala nangyayari. Humahabol na pala yung mga problema sa kanya. Now let's look at this. Okay. The example of Mary. Si Mary ay 42 years old. Okay. How many did you find? Okay. 42 years old siya. Meron siya dapat dito 9. Okay. By the way, feel free to eat. Okay lang po. I know it's dinner time. So, okay lang pong kumain kayo.
May initiative po ako. Sorry, kumain ako.
Okay lang, Itzy. No problem po. Okay, so get your sky plates, whatever. Basta po, makakain kayo dyan. And then I will try to finish this para makakain na rin kayo na mas mahusay. Okay, but I do not want to miss out, especially on the last part. This is because these are the things that you can do outside the session. Anyway, going back, for Mary, meron dyan dapat siyam. Ano yon? Feeling stressed all the time. Yung bang kahit nakatulog ka na, naranasan niyo na ba to? Natulog na kayo, umaga, pero feeling niyo pa rin pagod na pagod kayo. Constantly worries about anything and everything. Feels tension in her shoulders, stomach, and legs. Her heart races, and sometimes she finds it difficult to breathe. She feels tired and irritable. Okay. So, ayan ang mga red flags niya. Pag nakakita kayo ng mga ganyang red flags, kadalasan sila ay qualified na generalized anxiety disorder. So, hindi na normal ang kanilang anxiety levels. So, naging disorder na siya. Okay. So, let's move on to Jill. Jill is 50, also diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. Ano ang kanyang mga symptoms, mga red flags? Tiredness, agitation, hindi palagi mapaigi, no? Pains in her chest. Okay?
Yeah.
This is nag-overdose na siya, over breakup, you know? Worries about a lot about herself and her family, and easily gets in a state and assumes the worst. So, palagi siyang negative na state. Ay, nako, hindi niya ganun. Mangyayari dito siguro, palpak na naman. Yung mga ganong klaseng kaisipan. For example, if family members are unwell, if they are late coming home, okay, siguro may nangyari na aksidente doon. Yung mga tipong ganon. So, isa pa sa red flag niya, needs someone around her constantly to reassure her that and feels that she can't be left on her own. Hindi niya kaya mag-isa. Kailangan palagi siyang merong sidekick. Okay? Been drinking wine most evenings to try to calm herself down. And then she fears she might harm herself. So these are examples of our cases. I hope minarkahan nyo lahat yung mga red flags so that you can go back to that. Anyway, you will have a copy of the presentation. Now I'm going to show you this one, the Excel, for you to have a better idea ano-ano yung mga types ng depression, types ng anxiety. Okay, so this is first. Can you see my screen now? Ang focus ko po dito ay nasa A and B muna. Okay, A and B muna. Okay. So, the first type is disruptive mood dysregulation disorder. This is a type of depressive disorder. Pero siya yung tipong, I'll show you, siya yung palaging irritable, lagi na lang galit, okay? Feeling nyo matanda na pero may temper tantrums pa rin, okay? So siya yan, disruptive disorder. Then there's another type of depressive disorder. the major depressive disorder, yung mga red flags na yon, yun po yung pinag-usapan natin kanina. Ito yung maka-qualify na major depressive disorder kung 2 weeks hindi nagbabago ang kanyang mood. 2 weeks, ganun ang state niya. Okay? Yun ang major depressive disorder. Now, pag sinabi mo namang persistent depressive disorder, sa loob ng 2 taon ay hindi tatagal ang 3 buwan, magkakaroon na naman siya ng episode na depressed siya. Okay? Hindi tumatagal, sa loob ng 2 taon, January, nag-umpisa ang kanyang unang atake, let's say, ng January, hanggang nag-last yan ng February, hanggang ganun ang kanyang depressive episode. Ngayon, kung meron na siyang persistent depressive disorder, after, hindi pa lalampas ang 3 buwan, magkakaroon na naman siya ng another episode. Big sabihin, lilipas ng March ang April, pero bago matapos ang May, meron na naman siyang episode. So yung episode na yun, tatagal na naman ng 2 weeks to 2 months. It really depends kung gaano katagal. Pag nawala, bibilang ka na naman ng hindi lalampas na 3 months, meron na naman siya. Kapag paulit-ulit yon sa loob ng 2 taon, hindi bababa sa 2 taon, persistent na ang kanyang tinatawag na depressive disorder. And pwede lang mapaloob dyan yung major depressive disorder. Any types of major depressive disorder, pwedeng mild, pwedeng moderate, pwedeng severe, ang nasa loob ng 2 taon na yan. Okay? So it's really important na mapangalagaan, maagapan, maabatan itong individual na nakaka-encounter nito kasi it will only grow worse. Of course, there are lucky ones na nakaka-recover on their own, pero hindi lalampas yung worst na episode bago siya maging better. And we do not leave things to chance. Okay? Meron din tinatawag na premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Ano naman to? Bago mag-umpisa yung mens, okay? And when it's starting, at the onset of menses, nade-depressed siya. Okay? So, magagalitin, hindi nakaka-feel ng happiness, wala na siyang capacity maka-feel ng happiness, okay? Halos pare-pareho lang naman ang symptoms ng lahat ng depressive disorders. Ang nagkakaiba-iba lang, kailan, gaano katagal, at yung kung mild ba siya, kung moderate siya, at severe. Okay. So, think of the red flags. Pag yung mga red flags na yan, dumating bago siya magkaroon or after or habang meron siya at the onset, then tendency is meron siyang premenstrual dysphoric disorder. And then, of course, meron namang mga depressive disorders brought about by substance or medication. Okay, lalakihan ko lang po ng konti. Okay, substance medication induced. So, kapag meron kayong mga tinitake na gamot, nakaka-affect, meron mga gamot na nakaka-affect sa ating moods. For example, antihistamine. If you're taking antihistamine for an extended period already, nakaka-affect po ito ng moods natin. Pwede tayong ma-depress. But I thought, ang depression ko ay dahil doon sa pagkamatay ng mommy ko. Pero, na-aggravate din pala yon kasi nagtitake ako ng antihistamine. I was taking antihistamine because I'm allergic to seafood, I'm allergic to chicken, I'm allergic to eggs, I'm allergic to dust. So, hindi ako normal na nagpo-function talaga. So, I take antihistamine kapag wala ako, lalo na pag wala ako ng puff. So, nangyayari yan, nade-depress na pala ako. And there are times na parang nadi-dissociate ka na sa sarili mo. Alam mo yung feeling, I don't know if you've experienced this, yung feeling na parang kang nakaballoon. Yung alam mo na nangyayari to, pero parang you're not there. Those are feelings also that can be induced by substance. So you have to be very, very careful of what you're taking. Kahit mga over-the-counter lang yan. Cetirizine, antihistamine are over the counter. But if you abuse that, if you misuse that, then it can lead also to not very good effects. So after all, there's wisdom to what my mother was saying, wag ka mag-self-prescribe. My lola was so into it, so I think predisposed ako mag-self-prescribe, lalo na sa mga over-the-counter medicines. So I'm telling you now, because I'm countering that also, do not do not self-prescribe. Always ask your doctor because it's really difficult. When you have experienced that bubble, parang naandyan ka pero parang wala ka. Yung gusto mo nang putukin yung bubble pero wala kang magawa. Okay. These are very, very difficult situations. And I can just imagine those experiencing mental health illness are really imagining that, encountering that 10 times more pa. Okay, then let me proceed to the last type of depressive disorder, and this is what you call, I'm sorry, okay. And this is what you call depressive disorder due to another medical condition. So if you're sick, for example, you have cancer or what have you, no, hindi po maiiwasan na ma-depress. So ito lang yung sinasabi doon, no. Ang pinagmumula ng depression ay um, ibang medical condition. So now let us see ano ba ang mga I can go down. This is lifted from the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. Kaya po ito ganito kahaba, no? Kasi ang mga doktor, kapag sila ay nag-diagnose, meron I'll show you here, no? Meron nakalagay dito. Criteria A and D must be present in at least 2 to 3 settings. Mga ganyan po. Hindi agad-agad sila. That's why I always highlight, wag basta-basta magbabansag na meron tong depressive disorder. Kasi the doctor should be, and the psychologists and counselors are very, very keen na dapat present muna to, ganito katagal sa mga ganitong settings. Then, ano yung mga risk and prognostic factors? Temperamental. Kung ikaw ay mainitin ng ulo or meron sa family mo na mainitin ng ulo, mas prone ka magkaroon ng depression. Okay? Kung maraming nangyaring masasama sa buhay mo in the past, could be considered environmental, okay, so prone ka rin for depression. So, 4 na klase lang po yan. Temperamental, environmental, genetic, and course modifiers. Yung mga course modifiers, ito po yung nagkasakit ka habang ikaw ay in depression, so maaaring mapalala yung depression mo because of that sakit. Okay. Now, let's move to, before we go to that self-help, this is naman, I'll show you the many different types of, don't get overwhelmed po mga different types of anxiety disorder. So, ano ba yung mga anxiety? So, meron tinatawag na separation anxiety. Meron mga tinatawag na selective mutism. Ang selective mutism, sa ibang sitwasyon, nakakapagsalita naman talaga yung taong to. Okay. Tulad natin, mga normal na nasasalita tayo. Pero pag dinala mo siya sa isang social situation, for example, sa school, bigla siyang hindi na nagsasalita. Tatanungin ng mother niya, ano ka ba, pipe? Pero totoo po yun. Meron tinatawag na selective mutism. So, bakit nagkakaroon ng ganun? Because of the factors that can create in us anxiety disorder. Natatakot tayo, may fear tayo sa sitwasyon na yon, hindi natin alam i-handle na yon, yung sitwasyon na yan. Kaya, nagiging malalim yung effect ng fear na yon, pati yung mga nerves natin na nasa brains na affectuhan, hindi na po tayo nakakapagsalita pag dumating sa sitwasyon na ganyan o sa school or sa venue na yan. There are also specific phobias like fear of flying, fear of heights, fear of some animals, fear of injection, or fear of blood. Considered po ito na anxiety disorder, ang mga phobias. There are also social anxiety disorders, yung hindi Yung mga takot na mapunta sa mga public places or takot sa mga social interactions, takot makipag-usap sa ibang tao, takot makipag-meet sa hindi nakakilala, takot ma-observe. Okay. So, ang mga teachers, takot silang ma-observe, pero hindi naman talaga sila, wala naman talaga silang social anxiety disorder. So, normal lang yun. But meron mga tao talaga can really get to their nerves, literally. Meron bang tao takot sila. There's also what you call the panic disorder. Ang panic disorder naman po, ito yung mga indications, papalpitate. And these are common for all the anxiety kapag sinumpong na po ng anxiety disorder. Palpitation, sweating, trembling, mga hindi makahinga, choking, feeling mo nasasakal ka, may chest pain or discomfort, nahihilo, nag-LBM, palagi na lang nasa CR, um, feeling mo mahihimatay ka, nanlalamig or sobrang init, ayan ganyan, or merong hindi nagnanumb yung mga daliri or yung paa, at may derealization. Parang hindi totoo to parang wala ako dito, yung mga tipong ganun. Or may fear siya na magiging loko-loko siya. So, these are examples of panic disorder. Meron naman po tinatawag na agoraphobia. Akala ko nung una po, ang agoraphobia ay isang specific lang na phobia. Pero ang agoraphobia ay fear of lahat po ito, two or more of these situations. Public transport, takot siya, sumakay sa bus, sa train, sa barko, sa eroplano, yan, sa kotse, takot siya doon. Takot siya sa mga open spaces like parking lots, marketplaces, bridges. Takot din siya sa mga enclosed spaces like shops, theaters, cinemas. Takot din siya na sa maraming tao o pumipila, yung ganyan. Takot din siya maiwan sa bahay mag-isa. So kapag meron kang dalawa or tatlo nitong mga nabanggit ko, meron kang tinatawag na agoraphobia. At meron ding generalized anxiety disorder. This can be, ang simple manifestation nito, yung individual, hirap na hirap siyang i-control kung ano yung worry niya. Hindi niya mapigilan. Hindi niya mapigilang mag-isip. So, yan po ang generalized anxiety disorder. And then, meron po another type. Ito yung mga anxiety disorders naman na brought about by substance abuse and anxiety disorders brought about by another medical condition. So, ang tatandaan lang po natin, ano mga red flags dito sa anxiety disorder, restless, laging pagod, hindi makakoncentrate, irritable, tense ang mga muscles, may mga sleep disturbances. So, ano naman po ang mga nakaka-affect? Bakit nagkakaroon ng anxiety disorder? It can also be temperamental. Dahil sa attitudes natin sa mga bagay na to, okay, cognitive beliefs, mga pinaniniwalaan natin na napapalala, mga nangyari sa atin, environment, genetics and physiology, and medication. So, in both depression and anxiety disorders, maraming sinasabi po na researches na ang dalawang sakit na to, mental illnesses na to, napakalaki ng connection ng memory at ng emotions. Okay? Memory and emotions. So, hindi mo malimutan agad yung mga masasamang nangyayari sa'yo. So, nadadala yon, naapektuhan ng emotions mo. Pag alam niyo naman na emotions, so powerful. Pag hindi niyo na-control yan, lahat yan apektado na sa katawan mo. Nagsusweat ka na, nanginginig ka na, lahat yan. So, basically, kapag merong bad memories, na apektuhan ng emotions, and yung transaction ng memory at ng emotions, pag naghalo-halo na yan and it's not good, it can create depression and anxiety. So that's the bottom line of depression and anxiety. Now, let me go back to my PowerPoint presentation. But are you still okay? Would you like to stretch muna? Stretch po muna tayo dyan. You can always eat. Don't worry po. Pag nagkita na lang tayo personal, maniningil po sa inyo. Pasalubong. They're just kidding. So, kain-kain lang po tayo dyan. Don't worry. I have my water. So, namnamin po natin. Bottom line ng depression and anxiety. And the next part is how to deal with people who have these disorders. And this is the last part already. So, last hura natin to. And then we are off to our own fields. Nawala si aking PowerPoint. Sandali lang po. Okay, let me just open again. Sandali lang. Sana, sandali lang ha. Okay. Let me see. Doon, ayun na siya. Okay. So, natapos na po tayo sa types and symptoms. Okay. Basically, same red flags sa lahat ng klase ng depressive disorders. Same red flags sa lahat ng klase ng anxiety. Okay? Nagkakaiba-iba lang ang levels. Nagkakaiba-iba lang saan na nagkakaroon ng anxiety. So, may social anxiety, and then may mga specific phobias. Okay. What do we do? Okay. What do we do kapag, or how do we prevent first? Okay. There are basic and some natural ways we can deal with or prevention of depression and anxiety disorders. So for depression, may mga effective community approaches po tayo, no? So we teach social and emotional learning to kids in school. And ito po talaga ay hindi dapat nawawala. Social and emotional learning. Pag tinuro po ang social and emotional learning, ito po yung tungkol sa mga setting goals, self-awareness, self-efficacy, social awareness, self-management. Tinuturo po ito sa mga bata pagpasok pa lang nila ng elementary. At kahit po hindi sila pumapasok sa school, sa bahay po ay marami tayong pwedeng iturong social and emotional learning. Maraming mga house chores na pwede tayong ibigay sa mga bata, age-appropriate house chores. Because by giving them age-appropriate house chores, mga paglilinis ng mga pagpunas-punas ng mga iba-ibabaw, no, we are teaching them life skills. And we are teaching them social and emotional skills. Kailangan talaga nila. Okay. Kailangan nila para hindi sila magkaroon ng depression. Kailangan nila para hindi sila magkaroon ng anxiety disorders. So many things that we can do at home. Okay. So, yan, positive thinking is one, and intervention also for parents of children with behavioral problems may reduce parental depressive symptoms and improve outcomes for their children. So may mga interventions na tinuturo sa parents para sa mga bata na nakaka-encounter ng behavioral problems sa school. So, ginagawa po namin ito as a counselor, pinapatawag namin yung mga parents and we give them tips. Okay. I'm also developing a course now, a social and emotional learning course, and para po talaga to sa mga school-age children. But in a talk that I gave to the LaSalle Network, sabi ko po sa mga magulang, engage in informal learning kasi ang mental health po ay nakasalalay sa social and emotional learning at sa mga informal learning sessions na may bibigay nyo, umpisa pa lang po sa bahay. So, hindi po natin papalampasin yung pagkakataon na yan, lalo na ngayong pandemic na mas marami tayong time kasama ang mga bata. So, for the elderly naman po, may mga exercise programs para ma-prevent po ang depression. Now, for anxiety disorders naman po, it is helpful if you will reduce your consumption of caffeine. Mind your coffee intake. Kakailang kape po ba, tasa ng kape po ba tayo sa isang araw? Tsaa, or Coke, or chocolate, no? Kasi ito ay nakaka-up ng anxiety levels. Kasi sugar po ito, no? Kung mapapansin nyo, kapag tayo ay uminom at kumain ng chocolate, ang bilis minsan ng pintig ng heart natin, or hindi tayo makatulog agad. And pag hindi po tayo nakatulog, it's like we are living out already an anxiety symptom. Kasi sleeplessness is a symptom of anxiety. And so parang tinatawag natin na anxiety. Kasi pag hindi tayo nakakatulog, we tend to worry a lot. Well, unless na lang po, you engage in mindfulness techniques kapag hindi kayo makatulog. So for anxiety or to prevent anxiety disorder, you may you may ask your doctor or to give you or ano yung mga contents nitong binibigay ng medicine kasi baka maka-induce ng anxiety yon. And you can also engage in daily exercise and eat a healthy, balanced diet. Okay. Tapos, you can seek counseling po if you're feeling some things already after a traumatic and a disturbing experience. Huwag niyo nang palalain. You seek counseling. It's okay to ask help. It's okay to say, hindi ko kaya. Okay. Then, for diagnosis and treatment, there are medical medication. Ito yung mga SSRI, mga serotonin, mga antidepressants in short. Okay, we're not gonna deal with that. There's psychotherapy, and as a professional, I do give psychotherapy. The electroconvulsive therapy, on the other hand, can only be given by psychiatrists, but I don't know if it is still being given now. Kasi parang inalis na rito dahil ethical consideration. Well, the same for anxiety disorder, no? They give antidepressants and we give also psychotherapy. Sa mga counseling sessions yan, which could last for 12 to 18 sessions. Meron na ding mga brief psychotherapies ngayon, which can last for 6 to 8 sessions. And there are also natural remedies. And ito, mas maganda na mag-deposit kayo nito ng mga natural remedies. Kahit wala pa kayo nararamdaman, you get yourselves into this habit. So get into, lalo na ngayong pandemic, get into a routine. Okay, what do you mean by that? Try to stick to a schedule. Hindi ko walang naka-work from home kayo ay hindi na kayo gigising ng maaga or kakalimutan nyo na yung naging schedule nyo before while you were still working or when you had to commute. Okay. So stick to a schedule. If you need to wake up at 6 a.m., so be it. Then anong gagawin nyo? Then you eat at 7 a.m. You have lunch at 12. Okay. Because when you get into a routine, it will give your mind a structure. So yung mga hindi kinakailangang bagay ay hindi niya mapagtutuunan ng pansin. So it's really about establishing focus. Then exercise, move your body. So this will also tame tense muscles, and you have to train yourself to breathe deeply. So get enough sleep. Okay. Kung enjoy niyo manood ng TV, try to close masyadong nakaka-hyper pa ang TV screen. Kapag naka-on pa yan, or hinahayaan yung ginagawa niyong pampatulog, it's not really healthy. Kasi may rays din yan na nakaka-apekto sa inyo negatively. Then set goals, schedule your worry time. So tell your worries, mamaya na kita iisipin. I need to attend to some more important matters now. And then look for triggers. Halimbawa, may time na kabadong-kabado ka, no? Okay. Look back, ano kaya ang nag-trigger? Bakit ako kabadong-kabado ngayon? Meron ba akong, kadalasan ganito to, no? I'm just gonna share an anxiety disorder brought about by a heartbreak. Nag-break sila ng kanyang boyfriend. Ngayon, etong si girl, hindi na siya makatulog o palagi siya naiiyak. Okay. So, nag-consult siya sa isang psychologist. Sabi ng psychologist, get a small notebook, no? Every time na may naalala mo siya, isulat mo dyan. Okay. Naalala ko, ang ex ko, ilala ko na kami ay namamasyal sa tabi ng dagat. Naalala kong kumakain kami sa restaurant. Naalala kong magkahawak kamay pa kami, no? Pasway-sway pa. Naalala kong sinusulatan niya pa ako ng mga love letters. So, na-imagine niya lang yung boyfriend niya. Naalala niya lang yung boyfriend niya. naalala na niya lahat. Okay? Bumahan na ang memories. Dinaig pa si Ondoy. Okay? So, ganyan kalakas, ganyan katindi ang memory. Okay? Kaya, hindi kayo magdududa kung bakit madaling mabuo ang anxiety disorder. So, ang sabi ng psychologist, okay, sulat mo yan, ang mga naalala mo. Okay. Now, number 2, bakit mo naalala? Ano ang nagpaalala sa'yo? Sulat naman yung kliyente. Ay, kasi may dumaang lalaki, yun yung pabangong gamit niya. Okay, so just the mere olfactory sensation can bring you a flood of memories. Okay, so ngayon, number 3, anong ginawa mo? So, yun, na-blanco na ngayon yung kliyente. Hindi na niya alam anong gagawin niya kasi na-stuck siya sa number 1. Na-stuck siya na paikot-ikot lang ang memory. So, ang sabi ng psychologist, what you can do is do something productive that will disrupt you of your the flooding of memories. Do something like mag-garden ka. Do something like manahi ka. Whatever that you can put your hand into, madidistract ka niyan. Okay? So, binigyan siya ng psychologist niya ng mga coping, calming techniques, mga disrupting techniques, mga things na pwede niyang gawin. Magwalis ka ng bahay niyo, mag-alis ka ng mga agyo-agyo, yung mga tipong ganyan, sa mga disrupting techniques. You can also set disrupting techniques for yourself. Ano yung mga disrupt sa inyo kapag nag-start na kayo mag-worry? Okay, so that's about looking for trigger. Ano ang nag-trigger sa inyo para makapag-isip kayo ng hindi maganda o para ma-stuck kayo dyan sa iniisip niyo? Okay? So let's move on. Eat healthy. So ease up again. Huwag masyado sa caffeine, huwag masyadong sa alcohol. Now, and then take on responsibilities. So kadalasan, nagkakaroon ng self-pity kasi nakatuon lang tayo sa sarili natin. We forget that there's a wider world around us or outside us. So we have to engage ourselves in other efforts. But I know workers, you've been very, very engaged already, and sometimes the cause of your anxiety and depression ay hindi yung wala kayong responsibilities, but too much of it. Okay. So again, it's a balance. So what do you have now? If your plate is full because of responsibilities, then try to get your mind out of it. So hanap kayo ng things na makaka-disrupt from that, albeit momentarily, for your own mental health. And then challenge your negative thoughts. If you say, naiisip ko, ang pangit ko talaga, yung mga tipong ganyan, no? Then challenge your negative thoughts. Sino may sabing pangit ako? Yung mga tipong ganyan, okay? And then, sino may sabing wala akong kwenta? So, challenge your negative thoughts. Kadalasan kasi, ito lang yung mga nasabi sa atin in childhood tayo, no? Tapos, hindi natin question kasi ang nagsabi sa atin, mga importante sa atin or persons of authority. So, we dare not question those people before. But now, we are our own persons. We can determine for ourselves if we want to improve or not. So, we can question those beliefs. Para lang yung isang Dove commercial. Actually, it's an experiment. Merong 100 women, pinapasok sila isa-isa sa isang gallery. Tapos, dun sa isang gallery, may nakakubli na painter, portraiture, nagpipinta ng mga muka, no? Tapos, ang pinaka-task ng mga babae na isa-isang pinapasok, describe yourself to me. Okay? So, ang description nila, okay, sabi ng isang babae, ganito, ganyan, ganyan, ganyan. Pero kung titingnan mo siya, iba naman yung sinasabi niya sa dinidescribe niya. Bottom line is, ito yung mga babae may problema sa self-concept. Okay, they think pangit sila, pero maganda naman talaga sila. So, anong kinalabasan ng portrait nila? Okay, nung dinisplay na sa gallery yung portrait nila, they were so surprised. Yung dinescribe nila, hindi nag-match doon sa totoo nilang mukha, and they fell into tears. So, naiyak sila kasi ganito ko palang tingnan ng sarili ko. Ang baba naman ng pagtingin ko sa sarili ko. Okay? And they never bothered before to to challenge their negative thoughts. Okay? So I was so glad. I was so glad that siguro my mom was very beautiful, as in she looked like Meryl Streep. I was so lucky to have her kasi 5 years old pa lang, na-compare ko na yung sarili ko sa kanya. So nagkaroon na agad ako ng reality check. And she was very, very gracious enough to say, bakit? Hindi naman kayo pangit ah. May kanya-kanyang ganda ang bawat tao. Tingnan mo nga si Miss Universe natin. And that time, Miss Universe was Miss Aruba. Tingnan mo nga ang Miss Universe natin. Hindi siya yung normal na conception natin na maganda, na maputi, ganyan. Siya ay, balat niya ay may pagkamorena. You know naman yung mga Caribbean beauties, okay? And you love your nose. Hindi lahat ng mga tao matatangos ay magaganda. May kanya-kanya tayong ganda. And more importantly, you try to see what's inside of you. At yun na mas maganda mong alagaan. Okay? So, tayo, it may come in a bit late for us at 40, 50, 30, 40, 50, kung ano mga age natin yan. But it's not too late for us to realize that we all have our own beauties. And we can still challenge our negative thoughts. Okay? So we all end up beautiful. Okay? Because we are all beautiful. We're made in the image of God, right? So lahat tayo maganda. Inside and out. Okay. So going back, so depression, you can check with your doctor before using any vitamins because pwedeng makalalayan ng depression, and always make it a habit to try something new. Try to have fun as well. Okay. So I'm a bit pressed for time because I know it's getting late. Okay, let me move. I want you to, this is an assignment no, for you. So what can you give yourself para ma-counter nyo ang depression and anxiety? You choose from the ones that I mentioned earlier. Just give yourself one that will work for you. Alin dyan sa mga yan. I'm counting 1 to 10. You just pick one and you try to grow that habit. Ano ang gagawin niyo dyan? You will promise yourself to do that every day. No? Para ma-contra kung meron man namuong depression or anxiety ngayon. Or if you know someone who's encountering, nagbo-boil na ang depression and anxiety brewing na sa kanya, what can you give that person? You can try out those natural remedies to begin. So I'm counting 10 and then I will go now to the next slide. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes. So promise yourself that if it's challenging negative thoughts, I'm all for that. Okay. So just challenge yourself to do that. Okay. Then, yeah. Here, how to deal and help others. Okay. How to deal with individuals. It's when talking to a person, be sure to always offer your encouragement and support. How? You can practice the basic helping skills. Maintain confidentiality. Okay. Make sure na wala kayong pagsasabihan and assure that person, okay, whatever you will tell me, ako lang. Okay. Makakaasa ka, wala akong sasabihan iba. And you really have to mean it. Okay? Oh, you really have to mean it. Wala kang ibang pagsasabihan. Pwera na lang kamo. But if you pose to be a danger to yourself, let's say, naisipan mo na magpakamatay, then hindi ko pwedeng maitatagong secret yun, ha? I really have to tell someone. Okay? Kasi mahalaga ka sa akin. Mahalaga ang buhay mo sa akin. And as early as now, I'll tell you, kapag merong nagsabi sa inyo ng gano'n, do not leave them behind. No? Lalo na ngayon, empower the mga barangays. Pwede nyo silang dalhin sa barangay if you cannot stay with them. But I just hope that the barangay people are well equipped. They are empowered with the mental health law of 11036. Dapat empowered na yan. Kaya tayo sa simbahan, takbuhan tayo, no? Kung hindi nila maasahan ng barangay, make sure pag tinakbuhan tayo sa simbahan, Lalo na, ma'am, eto po, gusto niya magpakamatay. We know what to do. So, papakalmahin na natin ang tao, hindi natin siya iiwan doon. We call for the person's family. Okay? Hindi pwedeng iwan, hindi pwede yun. Okay? So, yeah, communicate your concern. Non-verbal skills are important, like paano ka may pag-usap, nakatingin ba yung mata mo sa kanya, nakapaaling ba yung ulo mo sa kanya, kasi baka naman may nagsasabi sa inyo may problema siya, pero ikaw nakatingin dyan or nagsusulat, ano yung problema mo? Sige, ano pa, magkwento ka lang dyan, pero may ginagawa kang iba. Okay? So, first, you don't communicate your concern well, and you are not using non-verbal skills effectively. And then you also praise their openness. Okay, I thank you for opening up to me. Salamat at sinabi mo sa akin yan. Thank you for opening up. And then validate. How do you validate their concerns? Alam ko mahirap ang pinagdadaanan mo. Hindi ko man maarok, maintindihan o ma-feel exactly kung anong nararamdaman mo, pero alam ko mahirap yan. Mga ganyang responses ang validating. Then put aside your personal values. If you think, for example, that somebody is seeking your help because siya ay bakla or tomboy at may nagugustuhan siyang ang tao and disgusted ka talaga sa mga ganong klaseng tao, can you put aside first your personal values because you don't know really what this individual is really has in mind and in his or her heart now. Baka at the end of her rope na yan. So, ang immediate dyan ay matulungan siya. So, psychosocial support is very, very important. Mapanatili ang pagtingin niya sa sarili niya, hindi siya makagawa ng sarili. That's emotional support, that's psychosocial support. Okay? And then, advise clients to become more active, seek social support and practice. Okay? Magkaroon ng stress management. Okay? Emphasize your role as a helper. Okay? Lahat kayo experts. You can tell them that. By telling me that, o sa pagsabi mo sa akin ng mga problema, pareho tayong experts, no? Ikaw expert ka sa nararamdaman mo. Ako naman, I can be an expert in how to guide you. Paano ka, especially when times na hindi mo alam kung ano na exactly, kung ano iisipin mo, I can help you with that. So these are some things to start dealing with the individual. Then how to start a conversation. Okay, I have been feeling concerned about you lately. These are, you can just translate to Tagalog, okay? But the essence is this, nag-aalala ako sa'yo lately, okay? Or recently, I have noticed some differences in you and wondered how you are doing. So it's like, parang may napansin akong pagbabago sa'yo. Kumusta ka ba? Ganon yun, okay? Tapos, yung pangatlo, I wanted to check in with you because you have seen pretty down lately. Uy, gusto na sana kitang makausap ng isang araw pa kasi feeling ko parang ang lungkot mo these days. Okay ka lang ba? How are you? Okay? Tapos, do you want to talk about gusto mo bang pag-usapan? Andito lang ako kung kaya mo nang pag-usapan. Andito lang ako, tulungan kita. Yan, ganyang klase. Very reassuring. But you can record your voice on the phone, how you come across. Huwag masyadong mataray na boses. Huwag masyadong bossy na boses or very authoritative. You can soften your voice just a little bit para mas maging kalmado ang effect sa kanila. Then once you've started talking, what you can say, kailan mo umpisang naramdaman to? Okay? Meron na ba nangyari ganito sa'yo before? Paano kita matutulungan ngayon? These things you can ask. Naisip mo na bang mag-consult sa counselor or sa psychiatrist? Okay. So, please notice na pareho lang ang mga techniques. These are psychosocial supports and they do not vary a lot but when dealing with people experiencing depression and anxiety disorder. What can I help you today? What can I help you with today? Paano kita matutulungan? These people really need support, no? Kailangan talaga nila ng assurance. Pero pag matindi na talaga yung kinakailangan nilang assurance at hindi na sila umaalis sa palda mo, then you really need to get them to help, seek professional help. Okay? So what can help? Okay, these are things that you can say. You're not alone, di ka nag-iisa. I'm not here for you. I'm here for you during this tough time. You're not alone. I may not understand exactly how you feel, but you're not alone. Nandito lang ako. It may be hard to believe right now, but the way you're feeling will change, okay? So please tell me what I can do now to help you. Even if I'm not able to understand exactly how you feel, I care about you and want to help. So, bottom line, paparating mo na andyan ka. Kahit hindi mo exactly alam kung anong nararamdaman niya, you're willing to listen, okay? And next, what are the things that you should avoid saying? Oh, tandaan mo na itong lahat. Pwede mo nang malimutan yung ibang bagay. Huwag mo lang kalimutan itong mga hindi mo dapat sabihin. Ang depression, nasa utak mo lang yan. Okay? Mawawala din yan. Everyone goes through tough times. For people experiencing depression and anxiety disorder, this is more than just tough time. Kahit pinaglalabanan to, hindi po talaga nawawala to. Madaling ma-overpower nito ang individual. So, baka ma-discourage pa sila when you say that everybody goes through tough times. O baka masuntok ka nila, anong tough times dyan? Hindi mo ba naiintindihan anong nararamdaman ko? Because this is really overwhelming talaga. So, and then do not tell them, try to look on the bright side. Because honestly, para silang kabayo na may blinders. Wala silang ibang nakikita. And it's not because ayaw nilang may makitang iba. Pero it's just that hindi sila capable of seeing things. Okay? Eto, isa pang hindi nyo kailangan sabihin. Why do you want to die when you have so much to live for? They don't see it. They don't see it. So, ang pinakamaganda, get their emotions out. Kapag nailabas nila yung emotions nila, they can talk. And somehow, this will lessen what they're feeling. And this will lessen the chances of them wanting to commit suicide. So, just get the emotions out. Kasi, defensive pa sila kapag ang baggage nila ay mabigat. Okay? So, get their emotions out. I can't do anything about your situation. So, it's just like tinataboy mo sila, no? So, ayan, just snap out of it. Ano ba? Tantanan mo na yan. Huwag ka na magpaka-depress as if depression is a choice. It's not a choice. And then, you should be feeling better by now. Ano ka ba? Ba't ganyan ka pa rin? So these are things we should not say, okay? Not helpful. Not helpful at all. So you can take a picture of this and keep it in your pocket. Ito yung mga hindi nyo kailangan malimutan. Because these are really, will not help people undergoing depression or anxiety disorder. Okay, at the count of 5, I'm clicking to the next slide. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right. Then for individuals experiencing depression, the risk of suicide is real. So if you believe your loved one is at an immediate risk for suicide, do not leave them alone. Okay? Or if the risk is not immediate, as in, nasa-sense mo pa lang naman na meron siyang tendency sa suicide, then you can talk to them about suicide. You can talk to them about dying or harming oneself, or you can discuss their preoccupation with death. Just help them express their feelings of hopelessness or self-hate. Mind also, tingnan nyo, meron na ba kayo napapansin na dangerous na ways niya, self-destructive ways? These are red flags for those people contemplating suicide. Okay? Yung mga tao na nagpapaalam, inaayos lahat, these are red flags also. Mga tao naghahanap ng mga sleeping pills, sa nakakabili ng mga ganitong weapons, these are red flags, okay? Tapos, kapag depressed, alam niyo, depressed isang tao, tapos biglang napalagay sila, wow, parang very blissful ang kanilang life, this is also a sign na hindi niyo sila dapat pababayaan at huwag niyo silang tatantanan. Kasi in our class, ito kadalasan yung phase, no? Na napag-aralan namin, ito yung phase after a depressive episode at siya ay parang ang saya niya at parang wala siyang problema. Ito yung nakakagather sila ng strength. Possibly, mga antidepressants sila dito lang nag-work. So, kaya sila ay feeding up kasi naka-antidepressant sila. So, kapag naka-antidepressant sila, they can now commit suicide. When they are depressed, pag naandun sila sa major depressive episodes, they can only think of suicide. But they don't have the energy to do it. Kasi depressed na sila low energy. So pag nakatake sila ng antidepressant, and kadalasan, a week after taking antidepressant or 2 weeks, yan yung window, no? Yan yung delikado. Yan yung tumataas yung energy level nila, and this is the time they can commit suicide. This is the time, I think, ito yung nangyari doon sa isang author, no? Nag-antidepressant siya. So, almost all of the time, andun na siya sa room niya, andun siya nagsusulat, ganyan. Nag-antidepressant siya, nagkaroon siya ng energy, lumabas siya ng bahay, pumunta siya sa ilog, doon siya nagpakalunan. So, that happened noong time na meron siyang antidepressant. Okay. So, just remember that. Okay. So, seize the time when the risk is not immediate to talk to someone contemplating suicide. Okay. Seize the time. Now, how do you deal with those with anxiety disorder? Kasi kadalasan sila yung mga ayaw na lumabas, kabadong-kabado. Help them manage their symptoms. Pakalmahin nyo. Give them calming tips. If you need a list of calming tips, I can give it to you so that you can use that on individuals. Okay. And then, yeah, actually, that's the end of it. Okay. So, there's hope even when your brain tells you there isn't. So these are especially for people and with depressive disorders and anxiety disorders. No? They think wala nang magandang mangyayari sa kanila. But with your help, with our psychosocial support, a lot of better things can still happen and they can manage their behaviors and thoughts. Okay, so with that, thank you very much. I'll stop sharing and then maybe we can, if we still have time, I can answer. But if we don't have time, we can place the answers na lang to these questions sa ating chat group. What's the pleasure of everyone? I can answer all these questions. Ilalagay ko na lang doon sa ating chat, group chat. Okay? What's the pleasure of the group?
Tita Ems, unmute po.
Yeah, Doc. Yeah, it's nice to know how the body feels in a very important discussion. Pero ito, meron silang merong mga sharing po dito, Doc, sa
Opo.
I think I have 2 questions here and then another 2
Sige
reflections. We
Sige,
will do
sige
this
po.
now, okay? So first question
Opo.
is, how many red flags does it take to be a candidate for mental health assessment? Ito po yung isang tanong, Doc.
Apo. Doon po sa for depression lang po ito ha. It really depends. Di ba pinakita ko po sa inyo, meron tinatawag na major depressive disorder, merong persistent, may disruptive, no? Doon po pag disruptive lang, ito yung mga hindi tumatagal ng paatik-atik, kumbaga. Palagi itong galit, palagi itong naiinis, palaging irritable, no? Pero hindi naman po siya tumatagal ng 2 weeks, no? So ilan ang kailangan na ganon? Let me just check. Okay. So kailangan dito sa disruptive, kapag siya ay 3 or more times per week na palaging galit, palaging sumasabog na lang, okay, pwede na po siyang matawag na disruptive. May disruptive mood dysregulation disorder. Kapag naman po ang tinitingnan natin ay major depressive disorder, kailangan po ay meron siyang at least 3 na symptoms na present, okay? So, para ma-consider siyang major depressive disorder. At kailangan yung 3 symptoms na po ito ay tumatagal ng 2 linggo.
Oh.
So,
Thank you. Thank you, Doc. Meron pa ditong isa and then we will go to another 2 na reflective. May kinalaman po ba ang depression or anxiety sa pagkakaroon ng dementia or Alzheimer's disease?
May
Ito po ang
kinalaman
tanong.
ba ang pagkakaroon ng anxiety sa
Yes po.
pagkakaroon ng dementia and
Yes po.
Alzheimer's? I
Yeah,
will
Doc.
check on the comorbidity, pero definitely kapag meron siyang dementia at Alzheimer's, definitely mas prone siya magkaroon ng depression. Pero kung ang tinatanong mo, ang depressive individual ba ngayon, halimbawa, ako, depressed ba ngayon, mas prone ba akong magkaroon ng Alzheimer's in the future or dementia in the future? Yun po ba ang tanong? Kasi I have to check kung meron mga studies na nagli-link sa ganong klase. Pero definitely, kapag meron ka ng dementia at Alzheimer, mas prone ka mag-depression. Pero kung may depression ka at i-link mo siya doon sa dementia at Alzheimer's, I will have to check on some studies tungkol din. Pero kung merong singular part ng brain na common yan, sige, ano po natin sa GC natin yan. I will update. Maganda po may bulletin pala tayo dyan. I can give you bulletins na lang po sa ating group chat.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you. Yeah, I think we need that kind of thing para mabalik-balikan ba, no? Ito galing po sa kay Gailry po ito. Sabi niya, ang pagkakaroon ng psoriasis nakaka-depress din po. Kasi naranasan ko pong mahiya ako sa tao. Kung pwede lang po, huwag nang lumabas dahil nakikita nila ng mga tao ang kakaiba kong skin. Pero malaki ang naitulong talaga ng acceptance po ng mga tao sa paligid. Pangunawa po nila sa kalagayan ko.
Talaga, oo. That is true. Oo.
Community
Yung psoriasis, pwede, ang ganda ng community mo, no? Nakatulong talaga.
Opo.
Psychosocial
Totoo.
support ang lakas, no?
Opo, totoo po.
Mm-mm.
Kasi alam mo kung hindi malakas Gary, hindi malakas ang community support mo, cycle lang 'yan eh. Oo, gagaling ka. Tapos dahil iniisip mo walang support sa iyo ang ibang tao, ang psoriasis kasi ang lakas ng link niya sa somatic side ng mga illnesses. So kapag may discomfort ka, agad-agad pwedeng bumalik 'yan.
Opo.
Chronic trigger.
Opo. Chronic disease po kasi ang psoriasis kung tutuusin. Sa family namin, 4 doon sa anak ko meron. Pero ano na po siya, control na po siya. Kasi alam na nila na, at saka ang maganda po ngayon sa panahon natin, open na po ba kung ano ang psoriasis. Nung una po talaga, nung time ko, talagang hindi pa nila alam kung ano ang psoriasis, kaya talagang nakakahiya. Yun ang dating. Pero salamat sa Panginoon, ngayon po ay tanggap na po ba na hindi naman. Ang isa pong maganda po sinabi ng doktor sa akin ay, ano po ba yung nakakapagpasaya sa iyo? Tsaka yung pagbabago ng lifestyle. Kaya kung tutuusin po, yung psoriasis ko po ngayon, hindi siya talaga nag-flare up. Hindi na po kontrolado na. Yun po yun. Kaya na-share ko ito kasi talagang dumating yung time na talagang takot ka, hiya ka, tapos hindi mo alam, gagaling pa ba ako? Yung mga ganun po bang katanungan? Ay, kailangan mo mag-work, kailangan mo lumabas, so pilit mong itinatago, pero nakikita eh. So, salamat. Tama po yung sinabi niyo. Salamat talaga. Ang laki nang naitulong. Kahit po ang DIAKONIA, ang laki po naitulong. Kasi, na-attend po kasi ako sa DIAKONIA. Meron na po akong psoriasis. At lumalabas po. Marahil aware sila kung ano ang psoriasis. So, hindi na po siya naging, naging issue. Kasi kung pupunahin nila, sabi, bakit meron ka niyan? Hindi po yung naging issue. Tapos, kasi naunawaan nila. So, napakaganda po noon. Yun po.
Opo. Salamat po kasi kung wala pong mga ganyang klaseng insights, hindi po magi-improve ang knowledge ng maraming tao on psoriasis. And ang community po hindi lalago ang kanyang knowledge and hindi niya mabibigay yung suporta na kailangan ng mga individuals.
Opo.
Salamat po. Continue with your sharing po. Marami po ang nangangailangan yan. Marami po
Opo,
nangangailangan ng
opo,
lakas
opo.
ng loob po.
Opo. Member po ako nung Psoriasis Philippines.
Opo. Thank you very
Opo.
much.
Thank
Opo.
you. Merong reflection po si Ate Doms na gusto po niyang ma-share. Ito pong
Apa.
sabi niya, Shibashi, after exercising the 10 Swiss, actually Ate Doms 16 po ito. Praying while doing
080.
Shibashi is the best for, yes Ate Doms, is the best for seniors. Constant dealing with a child and a baby. Eating right kinds of food and vitamins, kimchi, daily
Yes.
lemonade,
Kimchi.
doing daily routine, caring for plants, doing research, work makes a person happy, healthy, and useful, sabi po ni Ate Don.
Yeah. Tama po. Bakit po hindi kayo magkaroon ng Shibashi session?
Pwede ako magturo, Doc.
Yeah, di ba? Opo.
Kami ni Ate Doms, kaklase ko si Ate Doms sa Shibashi.
Opo.
Doc, isa pa, dalawa pa po ito.
Sige
galing
po,
kay
opo.
Hana. Sometimes we do not admit that we are depressed dahil sa stigma. Nababranded tayo as merong mental illness. Ang mental na-associate with craziness, sabi po ni Hana.
That's true. A very good realization. Totoo yan, no? Kaya maraming tao ang hindi nag-a-ask ng help. Kasi nababrand sila, ay, luka-luka yan, or ganyan, may sayad yan, okay? But that's really not true. There's nothing wrong about asking for help and admitting that you cannot deal with things anymore, no? I think masyado kasing myopic, nearsighted or narrow-minded ang pagtingin ng mga maraming tao, no? They do not see na ang laki ng mundong ginagalawan, napakalaki ng potential ng mga tao. Dapat magtulungan tayo para ma-achieve ang wellness. Napakalawak po ng gagalawan. If I have the chance, and next week I'll show you next meeting, yung bioecological model. Kasi tayo ngayon, ang nasa isip natin, kapag katapos ng pag-aaral, magtatrabaho. Okay? Nasa pagkatapos ng aral, maghahanap ng pagkakakitaan. But there's so much more that we can do na hindi na-imagine ng mga bata kasi nako-confine sila doon sa home environment. Hanggang ganun na lang. Okay, and so tayo dito sa DIAKONIA na mas nakakaalam, so much more is expected of us para iangat kasama nating lahat yung mga nasa paligid natin so we can enjoy a bigger, a wider, better world talaga for everyone.
Yeah. I have two more. Isa pa ito, Doc. Pero I think we can open the space for some questions na gustong tatanungin po ng grupo. Pero ito po, you said, galing po ito kay EJ Lovidad. You said suicide risks are real. How about suicide threats? Is someone giving threats about suicide is serious about it? Ito po kay EJ.
Okay. So, EJ, kapag merong tayong nadinig na gusto ko magpakamatay, kailangan natin seryosohin yun. Whether or not totoo yun sa pinanggagali doon sa nagsasabi or hindi. Kasi pwedeng yung nagsasalita nun, pwedeng ang gusto niya lang makakuha ng pansin. Okay? Meron naman ng iba, nagsasakit na sila, they hurt themselves. Ito yung tinatawag na non-suicidal, self-injurious behavior. They don't say it na gusto nilang magpakamatay, pero sinasaktan nila ang sarili nila as if nagpapakamatay sila. There are many situations, but pag may nagsabi sa'yo o may gumawa na ganon, you have to take it seriously. Yes, merong mga nagsasabi ng papakamatay ako pero hindi tinutuloy. Meron yun. Merong trip lang na, okay, I'll just try it, pero natutuluyan. Meron ding nagsasakit sa katawan nila na ang gusto lang naman makaramdam sila ng pain because they don't feel anymore because they are depressed, no? Ang depressed people kasi they don't feel happiness, they don't feel sadness. As in, wala lang. Walang emotion. Ganun ang depressed. So gusto nila makaramdam ng sakit. When they feel sakit, they feel like they're still alive. Okay. So ito yung sinasabing, nagsasabi ng suicide pero hindi tinotoo. But then again, kapag the mere fact na may nadinig ka dyan, operative nating words on suicide, you have to take it seriously. Kasi hindi natin alam kung may matutuluyan, magkakatotoo kahit hindi ginusto. Meron din namang hindi nagsasalita. Pero gagawin na lang basta-basta. So, ang dami, di ba? Ang daming pwedeng panggalingan. So, truth or not, real or not, kapag suicide, para yung sirena na dapat lahat tayo naka-alerto. EJ, okay ba?
Salamat, Doc. Yeah. Thank you so much. Ay, sorry. Opo. Yeah, napaka-seryoso itong usap natin kasi it goes with life. Yung at hindi ako alarmado, at least alam ko kung saan. Halimbawa alam ko kung saan ako tutungo kasi parang Doc, naranasan ko din yung anxiety talaga eh. Which, you know, and then ang mga systems na, ang mga style na ginagawa ko, kumain ka, ganun. Kinakausap ko yung sarili ko, ganyan. So I get some friends. Sila din nakakaranas din, lalo na yung isang kaibigan ko na may sakit na na-operasyon ng kung ano-ano sa katawan niya, yung gano'n. And then, ang ginawa ko, nagpunta ako sa doktor, nagpa-check up ako. Awa ng Diyos, wala nang pong crucial na kailangan magamot. So, minus yun sa akin. Pero nakakaramdam din ako ng, ano kaya ito? Kasi siyempre sa office, no? Yung office, may mga demands dyan na minsan hindi talaga ako makahabol. Yung ganun klase. Pero sabi ko, hindi, kaya mo yan. Sige lang. Gumagano naman ako sa sarili ko. So, yung binanggit niyo na ibang coping, nakakatulong yun sa akin, Doc. Nito ko lang nalaman na ganun pala, pwede palang gawin natin yun. Get to the positive side. Ganyan. Kung babalik siya, ulitin mo ulit. Ganyan.
Opo. Tapos, huwag lang natin mamadaliin.
Yeah. Oh, Doc, yung gano'n. 7 months? Grabe talaga.
Yes.
Yung gano'n. Itong inputs po ninyo ngayon, palagay ko, hindi lang ako yung makaka-realize na this will help na bilang hindi lang tayo trainers, kundi tayo ay magbibigay buhay sa ating makayanan kasi DIAKONIA ay binigyan po siya ng opportunity at nandyan kayo, Doc, na magbibigay sa amin ng kaparaanan kung paano i-deal ang mga hindi pangkaraniwang process ng pagkatao. Yung parang kung walang awareness, hindi rin kami makakatulong. Kung walang naranasan, parang kulang yung gano'n. So, I think this is a very good input para sa atin at sa ka-orientation bilang mga manggagawa sa English. Unless na, ito po Doc, baka meron po sa audience ang meron siyang panumpa na hindi tayo, matutuwa tayo kung naitanong natin kay Doc ito.
Yes.
Pwede lang po. Sige po, this is
okay
the space
po
for us. Anyone? Anyone from us? Hello?
Wala po sa taas ng kamay.
Yeah.
Pwede lang pong mag-reaction. Pastor Beth po.
Sabi mo kanina, Tessa,
Apo.
yung pagle-label, hindi tayo parang reminder siguro sa atin na hindi tayo dapat kung hindi talaga tayo naman professional, hindi tayo yung dapat na nagle-label. No? Kasi hindi rin naman natin alam kung ano nga ba talaga ang kanyang sitwasyon. So, kung ganun po, um, sino po ba ang may authority para ma-confirm kung ano talaga ang kanyang tunay na situation.
A registered counselor po, a registered psychologist, and psychiatrist po. Sila po ang makakapag-diagnose. And even if ma-diagnose, diagnosis po kasi in aid po yan of what intervention in aid of choosing an intervention po, kaya lang diagnose, ginagather lahat ng mga symptoms, yung ganyan. Tapos kapag nag-fit sa gantong, okay, eto na diagnosis niya. But not para bigyan siya ng, may major depressive disorder ka. Not in that way. Pero para lang, dahil meron kang major depressive disorder, eto yung pwede natin gawin sa'yo. I can give you an antidepressant, or you can go to a psychotherapist, or you can do these natural remedies. You can help yourself. I can give you some assignments. Like, yung psychotherapy po, ang ginagawa ko dyan, cognitive behavior therapy. Yung pong notebook, ginagamit natin yan madalas to monitor our thoughts. So, yes, do not label. Even if doctors label, it's not meant even if doctors diagnose, it's not meant to label individuals, but just to aid them in looking for a proper intervention. And diagnosis kasi, these are words used by medical practitioners or health practitioners, some people in the same field, para mas magkaintindihan sila. Okay. So that
Pwede pong follow up.
Yes, apo.
Yes.
Yun nga po yung isa din sa mga, ano kaya ang pwede nating maitulong or motivation na gagawin natin? Kasi yun nga yung pag nag-refer na tayo, sasabihin natin sa kanila, i-refer natin sila doon, paano natin sila ma-motivate o ma-encourage na pumunta nga sa ganong
professional health. Okay. Kasi po, pwede nating, ang gawin nating basis ay hindi ka na nakaka-function. Hindi ka ganyan dati. Tingnan mo, hindi ka na kumakain. Tingnan mo, hindi ka na nakakapagtrabaho ng maayos. Diba, dati na-enjoy natin yung mga activities na gano'n. Meron talagang nagbago sa'yo. Napapansin mo ba yun? How are you coping? Tapos mag-open siya sa'yo. Get it from that person. Mag-open siya sa'yo. Nahihirapan na nga ako. Ano kayang pwede kong gawin? Have you tried talking to a professional? Baka mas matulungan ka niya. Okay. If you're not ready yet, okay, ito gawin natin. And then you come up with psychosocial support. The things that I mentioned are psychosocial support strategies. Okay, these are what we can do. If the person or the individual is not yet ready to go to a professional, then okay, let's try this. Pero pag hindi nag-work to, hindi ko sinasabing hindi mag-work ha, ganyan. Then chikahin mo lang. No? Hindi ko sinasabing hindi mag-work mo. Pero syempre, limited lang ang alam ko, no? Pero kung sa tingin mo, gusto mo pa better, pwede kitang samahan sa isang professional. Just check, I want you to feel better. I know how you were before. No? Alam ko nakaka-function ka na mas maigi before.
Okay.
So I want you're important too. Yeah. So paparamdam mo yung concern mo. Sa psychosocial support, these things that I mentioned. And then if these will not be of help to the individual, sabihin mo, alam mo parang hindi pa rin bumabalik yung sigla mo. Tsaka feeling ko talaga, kaya mo pa, yung functionality mo maibalik mo. Yung ganyan. So, tulungan kita, meron akong kilalang professional. Parang hindi naman siya ma-down. Importante, may hope siyang makita.
May hope.
Salamat po.
Wow. Okay, thank you so much. Anyone else from the group? This is a very nice conversation and study.
Jenny po.
Okay.
Ayan, so good evening po, Ms. Tessa. Ang tanong ko kasi, more on awareness, kasi tayo mga workers tayo sa church di po ba? So, mas madalas ang tingin sa atin ng tao, tayo yung malakas, Tayo
Oo.
yung pupuntahan nila, tayo yung mag-a-advise sa kanila. Pero how about, kasi baka tayo ang may problema. Kasi wala tayong outlet, wala tayong mapagsabihan. Kasi baka sabihin nila, itong tao na sinasabihan ko, mahina lang din pala. Ganon, o merong pinagdadaanan. So marami kaming nai-encounter, o kahit ako, na-encounter ko yan sa sarili ko, baka hindi ko lang maamin na may mga weaknesses ako na kasi ako pagka yung pag marami akong problema, kain ako ng kain eh. No? So yun yung pinaka-outlet ko, pero alam kong mali yun. No? Paano kaya natin ito ma-overcome sa ating mga church worker na baka turo tayo ng turo pagkatapos tayo pala yung weak, nagpapanggap lang tayo na medyo malakas tayo, advise tayo na malakas tayo, pero deep inside ay meron tayong mas malalim na pinagdadaanan. Paano kaya po ito ma-overcome naming mga church workers?
Yes.
Salamat din. Oo.
Salamat po. Opo. So mahalaga po na bago natin harapin ng ibang tao, no? Meron tayong habit of reflection. Ito ay, ang bubuo sa reflection na to ay self-audit. Okay. So, yung habang ginagawa ko po mga sites na to, sabi ko, kanino ko ba i-address to? Para ba sa church workers o para sa gusto nilang tulungan? Kasi I have the same thought in mind, no? Sa mismong church worker, kailangan din nilang i-evaluate ang sarili nila. So, yes, you can actually evaluate yourself, assess yourself against the red flags. Okay? Nakaka-encounter ba kayo ng mga red flags na to? Gaano na katagal? Okay? And compared to a time in your life na sobrang ang galing ng functioning nyo, sa bahay, okay yung relationships nyo, nagagawa nyo yung mga gawaing bahay, compared to that time na naka-max ka, maximum potential, kumbaga na ibibigay mo. Compared to that time and now, anong pagkakaiba? And bakit? So you reflect on these things. Are you still comfortable dealing with people now? If not, why? Ano yung mga balakid sa'yo? Okay? If you are encountering headaches, fatigue, if you are encountering like ayoko nang lumabas, bakit? Anong meron? So these symptoms na na-encounter nyo din sa case study, these are also symptoms that you can check yourself against. And these are also situations that can mirror also your situations. May not be the same na hindi na kayo nagtatrabaho, you may not be, alone, pero may mga semblance of situations na pwede yung makaka-relate ka. Okay, how far am I from this individual na diagnosed na major depressive disorder? Kung medyo less ka doon, okay, masasabi ko ba totally na wala akong depressive disorder? Baka meron din akong something. What can I do about it? That's why it's important for you to embrace the natural remedies. As I have mentioned earlier, whether or not you are feeling something, it's important for you to do those things. Kasi ano yan armor mo. Okay, armor mo yan, panangga mo yan. Kumbaga, think of yourself as a child between 0 and 5 years old. Okay, ito yung nag-uumpisa pa lang, nag-uumpisa sa buhay. This is a time na sana makabalik ako doon para ma-equip ko yung sarili ko ng mga bagay na kailangan ko sana ngayong matanda na ako. Okay, imagine yourself, andyan ka sa 0 to 5. Imagine yourself equipping yourself with the social and emotional learning skills. Ano-ano yun? This down. Self-awareness. Okay? Self-management. Social awareness. Self-efficacy. And another is responsible decision making. These are 5 major skill sets na dapat umpisa pa lang ng buhay ng isang tao, meron na yan. Okay. Hindi padamot ang internet, makikita nyo ano yung social and emotional learning. I may have given 4 only, parang may isa dyan magkasama. But I can easily chat that to you later. Ang importante, think of yourself as 5 years old. At ano-ano yung mga life skills na pwede mong mabuo ngayon. And where can you consider yourself lacking? Doon, makakaroon ka ng assessment. Okay ba ako ngayon? Hindi ba ako okay? Kasi sometimes, di ba, like yung nangyari sa akin, noon lang ako nagkaroon ng tunay na assessment because I lost my mom. Okay ba ako? And for a time, hindi ako naging active sa church, sa profession ko. I had to stay away because I felt I could not give anything. Kasi parang nasa id ako. So tayo, just think of yourself as this also. Ang daming analogy, no? Think of yourself as a child, 0 to 5, ano yung wala ka. And this is another analogy. This is a tumbler. Okay? So, pag puno yan, ibig sabihin puno ka ng mga things na nagpapasaya sa'yo, things na pwedeng nag-enable sa'yo makipagbigay sa ibang tao. Nasaan ka dyan? Nasa kalahati ka ba? Okay? Nasa 1/4 ka ba? Okay? Anong indicator? Kapag kaya mo magbigay, maluwag sa pakiramdam mo, kahit pagod ka, ay kakayanin mo, then chances are your glass is full. Okay. So, it can also help by because we learn differently, no? May mga tinatawag na 5 love languages. So, nasaan ang love tank mo dyan? Okay, puno ba ang love tank mo? Ibig sabihin, ano yung mga love languages? Yan yung time, words, gift, service. Okay, yan ilan sa mga love languages. Okay. Ngayon, kapag puno ka niyan, that means also pwede mong punuan ng ibang tao. Kung nakakatanggap ka ng mga phrases, okay, at napupuno ang inyong love tank mo, feel mo love ka, feel mo love na love ka, okay ang self-concept mo, okay ang pagtingin sa sarili mo, then you can also give to other people. Kung napupuno ka ng mga gifts and yun ang love language mo, you feel more important kapag nakaka-receive ka ng gifts, okay? At puno yan, then you can give to other people, and so on. Okay. So think of that. Ano yung meron ka, ano yung wala ka, and how can you replenish? It's about replenishing. Life is long. Life is not easy. So it's important to take note of your resources. At paano ka makakabawi? Para lang yung gas sa sasakyan eh. After driving so far, kailangan mo magpagas. So anong dapat gasan mo sa sarili mo? Do you need a me time? Ako lang, para lang sa akin yung time nito. Do I need music in my life? Do I need to read more? Okay. Do I need to sleep more? What is it that you need to do more para ma-replenish ang energy and resources? So basically that's it. Madami kang points of reflection para malaman mo capable ba akong ibigay sa ibang tao. And we start with the red flags that we have there. And kung malapit ka na doon sa may mga major depressive and sa may mga anxiety disorders, then you should take a step back and pamper yourself somewhat or to get help professionally.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Meron pa ho isa dito. May time pa ba tayo?
Did I answer you? Sige po, okay lang po. Okay lang po ako. Kayo, baka nagugutom kayo. Ako okay lang. Di naman ako nagugutom at all.
Opo.
Laki ng katawan. Marami reserve.
Ito po galing kay Jocelyn. Sabi niya, may iba kasing takot lumapit sa professional, DHL. Naka-confine sa isip nila na magastos as they feel, and hindi naman sila insane pero para dalhin sa psychiatrist. Ganun kasi ang mga thinking ng iba. So paano po ito ma-overcome? Ano Doc? Professional.
Ano pong DHL?
Yeah, yung DHL. Jocelyn, ano ba ibig mo sabihin dito?
Rachel is dahil po. Dahil.
Dahil.
I'm sorry. Capital
So-
letters kasi ito.
So
Oo,
millennial.
Oo. Yun po, Doc. Dahil nakakonfine sa isip ng yung economic na magpahir, ganyan.
At totoo naman, mahal naman talaga, no? Kaya nga with the mental health law, ine-equip ang barangay level and schools ng psychosocial support skills, just like what we're doing now, para makatulong doon sa mga tao na nangangailangan. It's just that it's taking us so long, it's taking the government so long para isa katuparan itong pag-equip ng mga tao sa barangay, sa community level para matulungan silang mga ganyan. So yes, it's mahal and sometimes you would need time para mag-schedule sa kanila. Yeah, but hopefully we as a community here can start it, no? So sa pag-aaral natin na ginagawa na ganito regularly, ay ma-equip tayo paano pakihirapan at tulungan ng ibang tao. Yeah.
Wow.
So hindi lahat ng hindi lang insane ang dinadala sa psychiatric help. Even normal people needing help on adjustment, kailangan din sila.
Salamat po. So, meron pa ba? Is there anyone else? Yung makakatulog kayo pagka tinatanong nyo ito kay Doc.
Wala na pong nagre-raise ng hand.
Ano po, community po tayo dito. So, if you feel may question po, just use the group chat po para matulungan po natin yung wider community na umaasa sa atin at hindi nakaka-receive ng ganitong klaseng psycho-education.
Correct.
Ems, meron pa po doon sa chat box.
Yes, sige.
May
Hanap po. Pakibasa mo si chat box.
Sa chat box po, okay po, siguro po, ewan ko kung pwede nang sagutin to ni Ma'am Tessa, pero may separate module po kasi for this. Siguro mas intensive po yung pagsagot if sa next module na lang po ito. Yung more on parang child and adolescent disorders. So yung may special child po ba na may depression? Yung mga special child po ba ay may depression and anxiety? Ba sila? And
meron po.
Autism, level and Down syndrome.
Oo, pwede pong mapabigyan yan dun sa due to other medical condition. Pwede pong doon pumasok. So, posible po. Anybody can get depressed or depressive disorders po. Kasi sila yung medyo hindi in touch, no? Sa atin, yung mga special child, hindi natin alam kung ano nararamdaman nila, no? Iba yung baseline nila. But they can get depressed as well. We'll study that. Yeah, mas maganda nga po, if you have advanced questions for me para sa next session natin, so I can include that already in the discussion. So, mas makapagbigay ako ng assignment na mas nakaka-relate kayo. basta I just hope you have a healthy outlook on assignment, no? Don't consider that as pabigat. It's really something for you to learn. Kasi malaki po ang ating responsibilidad sa ating community. And marami tayong hahabuling aral.
Yeah, Doc. That's true. Kasi, ito, mabanggit ko na lang din, I don't know how we plan it with them. Yung national organizations po, Doc, ng kababaihan ng United Methodist Church are really hoping to have this kind of conversation sa kanila. Excited nga sila na makasama sila, pero nasagot ko naman yung iba kasi yun po ang ating alituntunin na sabi ko ay pasensya na po kayo, trainers training ito, pero palagay ko kagawa yung Diakonia ng isa pang na makasama kayo, sabi ko. Parang parang indicator po, naisip ko lang Doc na parang indicator na kailangan talaga din nila kahit na panalangin. Actually Doc, ang dami naming prayer times, yung devotion, ganyan, national po yan. Meron kaming annual conference, yung regions, meron din kaming district, meron kaming local. Pero naisip ko kanina nung nagtatanong sila sa akin na, teka muna, mukhang kailangan din ata nila ito. Sabi ko, kasi ito, nag-aantay na kami. yung ganun po yung kanilang desire to really, learn more. At saka marami po sa amin ang senior citizen. Baka
iba po ang
ito
level
ng
ng trainers
Diakonian.
training.
Apa.
Pero ang
tama
trainers
po kayo.
training po, iba talagang mas malalim po ito. That's why, iba din doon sa general population. That's okay. Talagang kailangan po nila yun. Ngayon kayo po na trainers, if you feel you are not yet trained or kailangan nyo pa ng mga skills, wag po kayo mag-atubili, tama ba? Na mag-check, what else do I need? How can I improve on myself? Parte po ng training natin yun. So, just go ahead. Okay. And it's also another matter to talk to the general population. Isa pa po yun. Talaga need pa po nila.
Thank you, Doc. That opens something in my mind right now na pwede siguro i-pick up natin sa Diakonia fields. Okay, I think this is a very good night. Unless there are some pressing questions, we may text our professor to really deal with the questions that we cannot raise here. Ang opportunity po ay mahaba at maluwang at maluwag. So, Doc, okay lang po ba yun na, halimbawa, meron akong personal na kailangan ilatag ko sa inyo, ay pwede lang po ba
personal message na lang po. Apo.
Apo.
Kung ayaw nyo makita po ng group, you can just give me a personal message po doon sa ating, meron naman po akong name doon, no? Message nyo ako personally doon sa ating, papasok lang sa akin yan. Okay lang po, no problem.
Thank you, Doc. At si Zenny, may tanong siya kung saan namin makopya. Sa bagay technical na ito, Zen, palagay ko gagawa ang Diakonia skills na pwedeng maibigay yung input ni Doc sa atin para point of reference na aralin natin. I think we are assured of that. Okay.
Saan na po kayo sa hairdo ko, ha? Kasi po alangan yung buhok ko. Hindi siya mahaba, hindi siya maikli. Kaya bahala na siya dyan. So in short, kapag wala siyang ganyan, sobrang messy yan.
Thank you, Doc. Ang ganda. So, Hannah, back to you. Ang chairperson natin, si Pastor Lilibet, may close this with a prayer.
Thank you po sa lahat. Let's close our activity tonight. Prayer po from Ate Marlene Sebastian.
Si Marlene. Thank you.
Okay, tayo pong lahat ay manalangin. Ama naming Diyos na makapangyarihan sa lahat, napakapalad po namin sa gabi pong ito na kami po ay nagkaroon ng napakayaman pong talakayan. Salamat po Panginoon sa buhay at talento na ibinahagi po ng aming kamanggagawa, ng aming kaibigan at professor na si Dr. Tessa de la Cruz. Salamat po Panginoon sa kanyang buhay. Salamat po sa kanyang talento na ito po ay ibinabahagi niya Panginoon. Kaya pagpalain mo po siya at patuloy na pagpapala ang siyang maranasan po niya Panginoon. Siya maging ang kanyang buong pamilya Panginoon. Marami po kaming natutunan sa gabing ito Panginoon. Kaya nawa po ay mapagyaman po namin ito at tulungan niyo po kami na magamit po namin ito Panginoon sa salamuha sa mga taong nasa aming kapaligiran at gamitin niyo po Panginoon ang aming mga buhay, ang aming mga talento upang makapagbigay ng tamang inspirasyon, Panginoon, sa mga tao, lalo't higit sa mga may mga karamdaman, sa mga taong nakakaranas ng depression at anxiety, Panginoon. Kaya gamitin niyo po, Panginoon, ang aming mga buhay. Salamat po, Panginoon, sa Diakonia Philippines na ginagamit niyo po upang maging daluyan, Panginoon, ng pagpapala upang maranasan po namin ang mga ganitong mga gawain. Nawa po, Panginoon, ay patuloy niyo pong pagpalain ang Diakonia Philippines, ang kabuuan po nito, ang BOT, ang lahat, Panginoon, na bumubuo nito, Panginoon, ay ikaw po ang siyang magpala, dakilang Diyos. Panginoon, sa gabi pong ito, ay amin pong inaalala ang aming kamanggagawa, si Deaconess Sheila Binuya, na nakaranas ng pagsabog ng pressure cooker at siya po ay nakaranas ng mga sakit sa kanyang pangatawan. Dakilang Diyos, hiniling nga po namin ang agarang paggaling po. Hipuin mo po ang kanyang buong katawan, Panginoon, lalo higit ang mga naapektuhan nito, Panginoon. At gamitin niyo, Panginoon, ng doktor, mga nurses at mga gamot na pumapasok sa kanyang katawan at ganoon din ang mga ipinapahid. Nawa po ay maging instrumento po ito, Panginoon, ng kanyang kagalingan. Lord, marami po kaming dapat ipagpasalamat po sa inyo. Subalit, alam niyo po, Panginoon, kung ano po ang amin pong mga nasa aming mga damdamin. Kaya, Lord, sa inyo po namin ito itinataas. Pagpalain niyo, Panginoon, ang mga kapatid na kasama po namin ngayong gabi sa amin pong pag-aaral na ito. Gamitin niyo po, Panginoon, ang buhay ng bawat sa amin, sa aming mga organisasyon, sa kung saang ministeryong ipinagkatiwala niyo po, Panginoon. At sa gabi pong ito, sa amin pong pansamantalang paghiwa-hiwalay, sa amin pong pagtulog, hiniling po namin, Panginoon, ang kapayapaan, ang siyang maranasan po namin, ang pag-iingat at ang biyaya mo, Panginoon, ang siya pong sumaamin, dakilang Diyos. Lalo higit, Panginoon, sa iyong anak na ginamit kay Ma'am Tessa, Panginoon, i-bless mo po siya, Panginoon. Amin pong itinataas ang kanyang buhay na lalo mo pa siyang magamit, Panginoon, sa ganitong larangan ng paglilingkod. Maraming salamat po sa inyo po namin ibinabalik ang lahat ng papuri, pasalamat, alang-alang kay Kristo na aming Panginoon at tagapagligtas, dakilang guro at Panginoon, ito po ang aming sama-samang panalangin. Amen.
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 Amen. Thank you, Marlene. Yeah. So,
salamat din po. Thank you po, Doktor.
Thank you po sa lahat.
Thank you po. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I hope the quotes can actually heal us. I think I am very positive about it. It's a very good one.
Bye po. Good night.
Yung pong ating schedule for next series po natin ay ipopost na lang po natin sa ating QC.
Okay.
Thank you,
Salamat
Ma'am.
po ng marami. Thank you po, Dr.
Thank you,
Tessa.
Beth.
Thank you.
Salamat po sa
Maraming
lahat.
salamat po.
Thank you po sa
God bless
lahat.
us po.
Good night
See you
po.
all
Good night.